The greatest tragedy of absolute power is not its corruption, but its monotony. In one universe, a hero removed his limiter through training so absurd it should have been impossible. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every single day. The result was strength beyond measure and an existence devoid of meaning. Every villain fell in one punch, every monster, one punch, every god-level threat that brought humanity to its knees, dispatched with casual indifference before the hero could even work up a sweat. His name was Saitama, and he had become the strongest being in his reality by accident, forever searching for the one thing his power had stolen from him, the thrill of a real fight. Then the dimension screamed. Reality tore open above Metropolis on a Tuesday afternoon, splitting the sky with colors that shouldn't exist. The rift hemorrhaged energy signatures that made every hero monitor on Earth shriek warnings. Speed force disruption, boom tube instability, something falling through the membrane between worlds. Superman was airborne in seconds, cape streaming as he raced toward the anomaly. Below, civilians pointed and gasped as a bald man in a yellow jumpsuit and white cape tumbled through the rift, looking supremely unimpressed by his interdimensional travel. Saitama hit the pavement of Metropolis with enough force to crater the street. Cars bounced, windows shattered for 3 blocks. Dust billowed outward in a perfect circle, and when it cleared, he stood in the center of the impact zone, brushing rubble off his shoulders with the casual air of someone who'd tripped on a curb. "Huh," Saitama said, looking around at the gleaming skyscrapers and the giant Daily Planet globe. "This isn't the Monster Association base." Superman descended slowly, heat vision ready but not engaged, scanning the newcomer with X-ray vision and finding nothing but a completely ordinary human physiology. No alien biology, no kryptonite radiation, no technological augmentation. Just a man in a costume that looked like it came from a clearance sale. And yet the impact crater told a different story. Whatever this person was, he'd survived a fall that should have liquefied a normal human. "Are you all right?" Superman asked, his voice carrying that perfect balance of concern and caution that came from years of dealing with dimensional refugees who were either victims or threats. That was quite an entrance. Saitama glanced up at the floating man in the blue suit and red cape, taking in the S symbol on his chest with mild interest. "Oh, you fly. That's cool." He looked back down at the crater he'd made. "Sorry about the road. I was chasing this crab monster through some weird portal thing, and then everything got all swirly." "A crab monster," Superman repeated, already running through his mental database of known threats. Nothing matched. "Yeah. Must have been at least dragon level. Had these huge claws and kept screaming about how humans taste good or something." Saitama shrugged. "I was gonna punch it, but then I ended up here instead." "Where is here, anyway?" Before Superman could answer, his comm crackled to life. Batman's voice, already tense with analysis. "Superman, I'm tracking massive power readings from your location. Unknown energy signature. Who is he?" "Unknown," Superman replied, not taking his eyes off Saitama. "But friendly so far. He says he's from another dimension." "Of course he does. Watchtower sensors went haywire when that rift opened. Whatever came through disrupted 3 simultaneous boom tube transports. Darkseid's forces lost a battalion somewhere in the Speed Force. Get him contained. Now." Saitama tilted his head, that perpetually bored expression never changing. "Is that your boss?" He sounds stressed. "That's Batman," Superman said, offering a diplomatic smile while every instinct told him this situation was more dangerous than it appeared. The man showed no fear, no disorientation, no concern about being stranded in another universe. That was either remarkable composure or complete obliviousness. "Welcome to Earth. Metropolis, specifically. I'm Superman. Saitama, I'm a hero for fun." Superman blinked. "A hero? For fun?" Yeah, it's kind of a hobby. Saitama scratched his bald head, looking around at the gathering crowd being held back by police barriers. So this Earth has heroes too? That's convenient. Any chance you've got some strong monsters I could fight? I've been really bored lately. That's when the Metropolis Special Crimes Unit arrived. Weapons trained on Saitama, and the hero who'd broken his limiter noticed the guns with the same mild interest someone might show a particularly unremarkable houseplant. Superman stepped between them and Saitama immediately, hands raised in a calming gesture. "Stand down," Superman ordered. "He's not hostile." "Sir, he just fell through a dimensional rift and destroyed city property," the unit commander said, though his voice wavered slightly. Superman's word carried weight in Metropolis. "We need to bring him in for questioning." Saitama peered around Superman's shoulder. "Are those supposed to hurt me?" And there it was, the statement delivered with such casual certainty that it made Superman's analytical mind race. Not a boast, not bravado, just a simple fact, like commenting on the weather. The man genuinely didn't consider bullets a threat. "How about this?" Superman said, turning back to Saitama with that practiced diplomatic tone. "Come with me voluntarily. We'll get you sorted out, figure out how to send you home, maybe find you a shower and a hot meal." The Justice League handles situations like this all the time. Saitama's eyes lit up slightly, the first real emotion Superman had seen from him. "Justice League? That sounds like a superhero team. Do you guys fight strong villains?" "Sometimes," Superman admitted carefully. "Cool, I'm in." Saitama started walking towards Superman, then paused. "Wait, can you really fly? Or is that just hovering? Because I can jump really high, but actual flying would be impressive." Superman couldn't help but smile slightly. "I can really fly." "Nice." As Superman guided Saitama upward, the bold hero simply accepting a lift with no apparent concern about being thousands of feet in the air. Batman's voice returned to the comm, quieter now but laced with suspicion. "I'm running his face through every database we have. Nothing. No records. No history. No digital footprint. He doesn't exist. And Superman, the energy signature from that impact crater. It's off the scale. Whatever he is, he's not human. Not in any way that matters. Bring him to the watchtower. Diana's already waiting, and she wants to meet this hero for fun personally." Superman glanced at his passenger, who was staring at Metropolis below with the disinterested expression of someone watching paint dry. The Man of Steel had faced alien invasions, dark gods, and reality-warping crises. But something about this bold man in a cheap costume triggered an instinct he'd learned to trust over the years. Saitama wasn't dangerous because he wanted to be. He was dangerous because he genuinely had no idea how much power he possessed. And in the DC universe, where the line between hero and tyrant was thinner than most wanted to admit, that kind of innocent ignorance could reshape everything. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character, and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. The boom tube opened above the watchtower, and Saitama stepped through with Superman, completely unaware that in the shadows of Apocalypse, sensors had already marked his arrival. Darkseid, seated on his throne of fire and stone, smiled. A being without limits had just entered a universe where gods measured their worth. The Lord of Apocalypse found this very interesting indeed. The Watchtower conference room overlooked Earth in all its blue-green glory, a view that usually inspired awe in first-time visitors. Saitama glanced at it once, said, "Neat," and sat down in the reinforced chair Batman had specifically chosen, one rated for Superman's strength. The Dark Knight stood in the corner, cape wrapped around him like a living shadow, analyzing every micro-expression on the bold man's face. Wonder Woman sat across the table, arms crossed, her warrior's instinct telling her this was no ordinary refugee. Superman took the mediator position, though his X-ray vision kept scanning Saitama, searching for anything that explained the impossible. "So," Saitama said, breaking the silence with all the formality of someone ordering takeout, "are you guys gonna ask me questions? Or is this one of those silent intimidation things? Because I should tell you, I'm really not good at reading atmosphere." Batman's eyes narrowed. "You claim to be from another dimension?" "Yeah." "You claim to be a hero?" "Yeah." "You fell through a rift that destabilized multiple boom tube transports and knocked Apocalypse forces into the Speed Force. Yet you show no signs of dimensional sickness, Speed Force contamination, or any injury whatsoever." Saitama thought about this. Is that weird? Wonder Woman leaned forward, her centuries of experience reading warriors telling her something Batman's technology couldn't. This man had no guard up because he'd never needed one. His posture screamed vulnerability, but his eyes held the exhaustion of someone who'd faced every possible threat and found them all lacking. "I am Diana of Themyscira," she said, her voice carrying the weight of divine authority. "In my homeland, we test warriors through combat. It is the most honest conversation between those who carry power. Would you consent to a sparring match?" Saitama perked up slightly. "You want to fight?" "I want to understand what you are," Diana corrected. "Your strength, your limits, your purpose. Superman tells me you destroyed a city block simply by landing. That is the power of a god walking carelessly." "I'm not a god. I'm just a guy who trained really hard." Batman pulled up holographic data. The crater analysis, energy readings, structural damage assessment. "You trained really hard and gained the ability to survive atmospheric re-entry without a scratch. Forgive my skepticism, but that's not how human biology works. I did 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every single day for 3 years," Saitama explained with complete sincerity. "No air conditioning in summer, no heat in winter. It was really tough at first." The Trinity exchanged glances. Superman's super hearing detected no elevated heart rate. Saitama believed what he was saying. Wonder Woman's divine senses found no deception. Batman's expression suggested he was re-evaluating whether this was an elaborate joke. "That's impossible," Batman stated flatly. "Yeah, everyone says that." Saitama scratched his head. "But it worked. I got stronger, my hair fell out, and now I'm the strongest hero in my world. Well, I was. Not sure how things rank here." Superman leaned forward, trying a different approach. "Saitama, in your world, what's the strongest opponent you've ever faced?" For the first time, genuine emotion crossed the bald hero's face. Profound, soul-crushing disappointment. "I thought Boros would be it. He was this alien conqueror who destroyed planets for fun, said he'd traveled across the universe looking for a worthy opponent. We fought on his ship, and he used this attack called Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon that could have destroyed Earth's surface." Saitama's shoulders slumped. "I beat him with one serious punch. He died saying he never stood a chance." The temperature in the room dropped. Batman's fingers moved across his wrist computer, already running calculations. Wonder Woman's hand drifted toward her lasso, not threateningly, but instinctively. Superman's eyes flickered with heat vision before he controlled it. "You're saying," Batman's voice was measured, "dangerous, that you can destroy planetary surfaces with a single punch?" "I mean, I haven't tried," Saitama admitted. "That would be bad for people living there. But Boros seemed pretty sure his attack could do it, and my punch canceled it out completely, so..." He shrugged. "Math, I guess." Diana stood, her Amazon warrior training demanding action over words. "The sparring ring. Now, I must see this for myself." "Finally," Saitama said, standing with the first genuine enthusiasm he'd shown. "A real superhero wants to fight me. This is great. Do you have any special moves, energy beams, super strength?" Oh man, maybe this universe will actually be fun. They walked to the Watchtower's training facility, a room built to contain Kryptonian-level combat, with force fields designed by the greatest minds on Earth and OA. Wonder Woman stepped into the ring, drawing her sword, not to kill, but to test. Saitama walked in wearing his ridiculous yellow costume, hands in his pockets, looking like a man waiting for a bus. "I will not hold back," Diana warned. "The gods taught me that half measures disrespect both warriors." "Cool," Saitama said. "Should I take my gloves off, or is this a gloves-on kind of thing?" She blurred forward with divine speed, sword arcing toward his neck in a strike that could cleave adamantium. Saitama tilted his head. The blade passed harmlessly past him. Diana pivoted, sweeping low, then launching a combination that had felled gods and monsters across millennia of warfare. Saitama dodged each strike with minimal movement, hands still in his pockets, expression bored. "You're fast," he commented. "That's good. Most heroes in my world aren't this fast." Diana gritted her teeth and called upon her divine heritage, strength flooding her limbs with the power of Olympus itself. She dropped the sword and threw a punch that had once staggered Darkseid. It connected with Saitama's face with a thunderclap that rattled the observation windows. Saitama didn't move. Diana's hand throbbed. She stepped back, staring at her knuckles, bruised, possibly fractured. The man she'd hit stood completely still, cape settling back down, one eyebrow raised. "That actually had some force behind it," Saitama said, sounding almost hopeful. "Want to try again?" "Diana, stand down," Superman called from the observation deck. His X-ray vision had watched the punch's impact. Every ounce of Wonder Woman's God-granted strength had hit Saitama's face and dispersed instantly, absorbed by something his vision couldn't penetrate. The man's cellular structure hadn't even compressed. Batman was already typing. "He's not invulnerable like you are, Superman. He doesn't have an energy field or alien density. He just doesn't take damage. It's like punching the concept of durability itself." Diana left the ring, cradling her hand. Her warrior's pride stung, but her strategic mind racing. He never removed his hands from his pockets. "I didn't want to accidentally hurt you," Saitama said, following her out. "You seem nice. Plus, Superman said you guys are heroes, so we're probably on the same team, right?" Superman landed beside them, and for the first time in years, felt something he rarely experienced: inadequacy. Not because Saitama had beaten Diana. She'd barely scratched the surface of her combat prowess, but because the man had endured a goddess's full-strength punch with the casual indifference of someone swatting a fly. "Saitama," Superman said carefully, "we need to establish some parameters. Your power level is concerning." "Is it, though?" Saitama's perpetual boredom returned. "Because in my world, I'm the strongest hero and it sucks. Every fight ends instantly. Every monster, every villain, every cosmic threat, they all fall with one punch. I became a hero to feel that rush, that excitement of a real challenge, and instead I just ended up lonely and bored." He looked at Superman with eyes that had seen too many effortless victories. "So if you're worried I'm going to abuse this power or whatever, don't be. I've had it for years, and mostly I just use it to catch grocery store sales and help old ladies cross the street." Batman's voice cut through the comm system, synthesized and cold. "The Joker helped old ladies cross the street before he became the Joker. Power doesn't corrupt in an instant, Saitama. It erodes slowly, with every easy victory, every time you decide your judgment is better than the laws, every moment you realize you could reshape the world and no one could stop you." A pause. "We've seen it before. Superman himself could become a tyrant if he chose. The only thing preventing it is his character, tested daily. What happens when boredom turns to frustration? When you decide these boring villains don't deserve your mercy." Saitama considered this with the same thoughtful expression he wore when contemplating dinner options. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I've been bored for years now, and I still just punch bad guys and go home. Not really interested in the whole world domination thing. Sounds like a lot of work. Wonder Woman wrapped her hand, already healing thanks to her divine constitution, and studied their guest with new understanding. You are not a warrior seeking glory, you are a hero seeking purpose. The battle itself no longer sustains you. Yeah, Saitama admitted quietly. It's like I trained to be strong enough to protect people with one punch, and I succeeded. But now that I can do it, there's nothing left to prove. No mountain left to climb. Just endless victories that don't mean anything. The Trinity shared a look that carried years of partnership and unspoken understanding. Batman saw a weapon of incalculable power with unclear allegiances. Superman saw a lonely soul drowning in his own strength. Wonder Woman saw a warrior who'd won every battle except the one against his own existence. The Justice League, Superman said slowly, exists to protect Earth and coordinate responses to threats beyond any single hero's ability. We face gods, alien invasions, dark magic, and cosmic entities regularly. If you truly want a challenge, he hesitated. We could use someone like you, but you'd need to prove you can be trusted, that your power serves justice, not convenience. Saitama's eyes widened slightly. You have gods here? Like, actual gods? Darkseid rules Apocalypse, Diana confirmed. He seeks the anti-life equation, a mathematical proof that free will is meaningless. He has nearly conquered Earth multiple times. And he's strong. He once beat Superman and me simultaneously, Diana said. His Omega beams can erase beings from existence. His strength rivals that of old gods. For the first time since arriving, Saitama smiled. Not much, just the slight upturn of lips that suggested genuine interest. Can I fight him? Batman's voice went flat. No, but you just said. I said he's dangerous, not that we're throwing unknown variables at him for entertainment. Batman materialized from the shadows, having entered the room without anyone noticing. He stood before Saitama, cowl shadowing his eyes, every inch the dark night. You want to prove yourself? Start small. Patrol Metropolis with Superman, help with street-level threats, show us you can use restraint, follow protocol, work within a system designed to protect people, not just punch them. That sounds boring, though. Everything sounds boring to you, Batman countered. So you can either endure boring heroism and earn our trust, or I can dedicate every resource I have to finding a way to neutralize you. Your choice. They stared at each other. The world's greatest detective and the man who'd broken all limits. Superman tensed, ready to intervene. Diana's hand went to her lasso. The watchtower's automated defenses hummed to life, recognizing the tension. Then Saitama shrugged. Okay, I'll do the boring patrols. It's not like I have anything better to do, and at least you guys seem competent. Plus, maybe someone strong will show up eventually. He looked at Batman with that same perpetual boredom. You're not going to find a way to neutralize me, though. Lots of people have tried. It never works. We'll see, Batman said, already planning 17 different contingencies. In the silence that followed, none of them noticed the boom tube signature manifesting briefly at the edge of Earth's orbit. A probe, watching, recording, transmitting data back to Apocalypse, where Darkseid sat forward on his throne, eyes glowing red with interest. A being without limits, a hero without challenges, a weapon without a master. The Lord of Apocalypse had been searching for the anti-life equation for eons. Perhaps the answer had just fallen into his universe. Wearing a yellow costume and complaining about boredom, Metropolis at night gleamed like a promise. Skyscrapers piercing the darkness, their windows golden squares of life and hope. Superman and Saitama stood atop the Daily Planet building, the iconic globe spinning slowly beneath their feet. The man of steel scanned the city with his enhanced senses, listening to heartbeats and car alarms and domestic disputes, sorting through the noise for genuine danger. His new companion sat cross-legged on the globe, staring at the skyline with the enthusiasm of someone watching paint dry. "So this is what you do?" Saitama asked. "Just stand around waiting for crimes?" "Listening for crimes," Superman corrected. "My hearing covers the entire city. When someone needs help, He stopped mid-sentence, head tilting. "There, armed robbery at 7th and Siegel. 4 gunmen, hostages. You want to handle it?" Saitama stood, looking toward the distant street corner. "How do I get there? Jump? I'll carry you." Saitama crouched slightly and launched himself off the building. He disappeared into the night sky with a sound like thunder, his trajectory carrying him in a perfect arc toward the crime scene 7 blocks away. Superman blinked, then flew after him, arriving just in time to see Saitama land in the middle of the street with another impact crater. The 4 robbers, wearing ski masks and carrying automatic weapons, spun toward the noise. Their hostages, a family of 4, cowered behind them. The lead gunman raised his weapon. "Don't move or—" Saitama flicked his finger. The gentle motion created a pressure wave that knocked all 4 criminals unconscious instantly, their weapons clattering to the pavement. The family stared at the bald man in the yellow jumpsuit, too shocked to run. Saitama waved awkwardly. "You're safe now. Probably shouldn't walk around this late, though. Seems dangerous." Superman landed beside him as sirens approached. The hero who'd saved billions smiled at the rescued family, checked that everyone was physically fine, then gently pulled Saitama aside while the police secured the unconscious criminals. "That was efficient," Superman said carefully. "Was I supposed to do something else?" They had guns pointed at people. "No, you did great. It's just—" Superman struggled for the right words. Most heroes would have disarmed them first, maybe said something heroic, given them a chance to surrender. Why? They were pointing guns at kids. Saitama's expression shifted to something like confusion. "In my world, if you're threatening innocent people, you get punched. End of story. Was I supposed to let them shoot first?" "Of course not, but there's a process. Seems inefficient." Superman couldn't argue with the results. 4 criminals stopped, 0 casualties, hostages safe. And yet something about the cold efficiency bothered him. It was heroism stripped of everything except pure function. No inspiration, no attempt to redeem, no moment for the villains to realize their mistake and choose better. Just instant, overwhelming force. They responded to 6 more incidents over the next 2 hours. A mugging, Saitama tapped the mugger's shoulder, and the man's consciousness simply switched off. A car chase. Saitama jumped in front of the speeding vehicle, and it crumpled against him like aluminum foil, driver unharmed, but terrified. A domestic disturbance. Saitama knocked on the door, and his mere presence, that deadpan stare and obvious power, made the abusive partner surrender without resistance. "You're very good at this," Superman said as they stood atop another building, "but you don't seem to enjoy it." "It's the same as my world," Saitama replied, that familiar disappointment settling over him. "Bad guys who fall down instantly, threats that aren't threatening. I keep hoping for something different, but—" He trailed off, staring at his gloved hand. "Do you ever get bored, Superman? You're really strong too. Don't you want someone who can actually challenge you?" Superman considered the question carefully. "I've fought beings as strong as me. Darkseid, Doomsday, other Kryptonians. And yes, there's a clarity to those battles. But my strength isn't what makes me a hero, Saitama. It's choosing to protect people even when it's boring, tedious, or thankless. The grocery store robbery isn't exciting, but to the clerk being held at gunpoint, I'm their whole world in that moment." "That's a good answer," Saitama said quietly. "I wish I felt that way." Before Superman could respond, His comm crackled. Batman's voice, urgent. "Superman, we have a situation. Gotham. The Joker just broke out of Arkham with 3 other inmates. He's taken over Gotham Children's Hospital." Saitama's head snapped up. "Joker? That sounds like a villain name." "The worst one," Superman confirmed, already lifting off. "Come on, this is going to be different from street-level crime." They flew toward Gotham, Superman carrying Saitama, who complained that jumping would be faster but accepted the lift anyway. As they crossed the bay, Metropolis's gleaming hope gave way to Gotham's gothic despair. Gargoyles leered from buildings. Smog hung over streets like judgment. This was a city that had stared into darkness so long that darkness stared back. Batman stood on the hospital roof, cape billowing in the cold wind. Below, police had cordoned off the building. Inside, through windows, they could see the Joker's signature purple suit as he wandered the pediatric ward, doing something that made the officers look away in disgust. "He's rigged the building with explosives," Batman said without preamble. 43 children inside, plus staff. Deadman switches on the detonators. If his heart stops, everything explodes. If we storm the building, he triggers it manually. "He's demanding a conversation with me, broadcast live across Gotham." "So go talk to him," Saitama said. "Then I'll grab him before he can press any buttons. He'll never even see me move." Batman's white lenses turned toward him. "You don't understand the Joker. He's already accounted for speedsters, for Superman's intervention, for every possible tactical response. Whatever his plan is, it includes us trying to stop him. Then what do? We think. We find the angle he hasn't considered. Saitama said, walking toward the roof edge. "I just go get him. Be right back." "Wait." But Saitama had already jumped, his arc carrying him through a third-floor window in a shower of glass. Batman lunged for his comm. "All units, hold position. Unknown meta in the building." Inside the hospital, fluorescent lights flickered over linoleum halls decorated with cheerful cartoon characters, a grotesque contrast to the situation unfolding. The Joker stood in the main pediatric ward, makeup perfect, smile wider than sanity allowed, holding a detonator in one hand and a comically oversized gun in the other. Children cried in their beds, nurses huddled in corners. The clown Prince of Crime was mid-monologue, something about the punchline of existence, when a bald man in a yellow jumpsuit walked through the doorway. "Hey," Saitama said, "you're the Joker, right? You need to come with me." The Joker's eyes widened with genuine delight. "Oh my, a new player, how wonderful." He spun toward Saitama, gun raised. "Do you know what happens when you interrupt a comedian's routine? It's very rude. The audience gets confused, the timing's ruined." And Saitama crossed the distance in a blink. One moment he was at the door. The next, his hand was grasping the Joker's wrist. Not hard enough to break bone, but with enough casual strength that the clown's finger froze on the detonator trigger, unable to move a millimeter. "Put down the bomb thing," Saitama said. The Joker's smile never wavered, but something in his eyes changed, that manic intelligence processing this new variable. "Ooh, you're strong. How delightful. But you see, Baldy, this is what we call a dead man switch." My heart stops. Boom, my finger relaxes. Boom, my anxiety medication wears off. Boom. So unless you've got a plan better than... Saitama plucked the detonator from the Joker's hand. The clown's finger tried to press the trigger. It moved 3 millimeters before Saitama's grip simply stopped it, the laws of physics bending around his absolute strength. The Joker pressed harder. Nothing. He pressed with both hands. Still nothing. That's not possible," the Joker said, and for the first time, uncertainty crept into his voice. "The trigger mechanism is... I'm holding it still," Saitama explained. "You can't press what I don't let you press." He looked at the detonator in his other hand. examining it like a curiosity. "This the only one?" "There are backups," the Joker shrieked, reaching into his jacket. "Fail-safes. I always have—" Saitama tapped him on the forehead. The Joker's eyes rolled back and he crumpled, unconscious before hitting the floor. The hero who'd broken his limiter stood there, holding the clown by the collar with one hand and the detonator with the other, looking around at the terrified children and nurses. "Someone should call the police," Saitama said, "and maybe a bomb squad. I think this guy was serious about the explosives." Batman crashed through the window seconds later, followed by Superman. They found Saitama sitting on a hospital bed next to a crying child, awkwardly patting the kid's shoulder while the Joker lay unconscious at his feet, wrists somehow bound with his own suspenders. The bomb squad was already filing in, directed by a nurse who pointed at Saitama with equal parts gratitude and confusion. "What happened?" Batman demanded. "I grabbed him," Saitama said simply. "He tried to press the trigger, but I didn't let him. Then I tapped him to sleep." "Is that okay?" The nurse said. "I did good, but you seem upset." Batman stared at the unconscious Joker, then at the detonator sitting safely on the nurse's station, then back at Saitama. Years of planning, countless contingencies, the eternal psychological chess match with Gotham's most dangerous mind, circumvented because someone simply didn't let the Joker's finger move. "You..." Batman struggled for words. "You just grabbed him." "Yeah. And his dead man switch?" "I held the trigger still so he couldn't press it. My fingers are stronger than his." Superman was smiling now, that genuine warmth breaking through. "Saitama, you saved those children. That was heroic." "Was it?" Saitama stood, looking at the Joker's unconscious form. "He didn't even put up a fight, just fell asleep when I tapped him. Same as everyone else." The disappointment in his voice was profound. Batman made him sound scary, like he was this huge threat. But he was just a guy in makeup with a bomb. One tap and it was over. Batman knelt beside the Joker, checking his vitals. Alive, unconscious, no sign of lasting damage despite being struck by something that could punch through gourds. Saitama had held back perfectly, using just enough force to neutralize the threat without permanent harm. That should have been reassuring. Instead, it made Batman's contingency planning mind race even faster. This man had just dismantled Gotham's most dangerous psychopath with less effort than swatting a fly. The Joker, who'd killed thousands, whose psychological games had broken heroes' spirits and turned Gotham into his personal stage, rendered irrelevant by someone who simply didn't care about the game. "Take him to Arkham," Batman ordered the arriving officers. Then, to Saitama, "We need to talk. Rooftop. Now." They stood under Gotham's perpetual clouds, three heroes representing different philosophies. Superman, the optimist who believed in redemption. Batman, the realist who prepared for betrayal. And Saitama, the accidental god who just wanted to feel something again. "You did well tonight," Superman started. But Saitama could hear it coming. Batman stepped forward. "But you treated the Joker like an inconvenience. You didn't consider his psychological state, his potential backup plans, the symbolic victory he might claim from being defeated so easily. You just ended it. Isn't that good? The kids are safe." "The kids are safe this time," Batman corrected. "What about next time? The time after that?" The Joker doesn't stay in Arkham. He escapes, he kills, he destroys, over and over. It's a cycle that's claimed thousands of lives. "And you had him helpless?" Batman's voice dropped to that dangerous growl. "Did you consider killing him, ending the cycle permanently?" Saitama met Batman's eyes without flinching. "No." "Why not?" "Because you said he was a villain who needed to be stopped, not killed. So I stopped him." Saitama's perpetual boredom shifted to something harder. "In my world, I kill monsters. Beings that only exist to destroy humanity, that can't be reasoned with or contained. But people, even bad people. I just knock them out and let the police handle it. That's what heroes do, right? That's what heroes are supposed to do, Superman said quietly. But in this world, it's more complicated. The Joker has killed thousands. He'll escape again, probably within a month. He'll kill more innocents, destroy more lives, and we could stop it permanently, but we don't. We choose to believe in the system, in redemption, in the law. Even when the law doesn't work. Even then, Batman confirmed, because the moment we decide we're above the law, that our judgment supersedes society's, we stop being heroes. We become what we fight against. Saitama considered this, his expression thoughtful for once. So you're saying I should have let him press the trigger? Let the kids die because stopping him too easily makes him look weak? No, Batman said sharply. I'm saying your power makes every moral decision simpler. You can save everyone effortlessly, so you do. But the rest of us have to make impossible choices. Let a villain live knowing they'll kill again, or cross the line and lose who we are. Your existence, it challenges the entire framework we've built. I don't mean to, Saitama said quietly. Superman put a hand on his shoulder. We know, but that's the challenge you represent. You're not just powerful. You make everyone else's struggles look pointless. Batman's detective work, my restraint. Diana's warrior code. When you can just tap the Joker to sleep, what's the point of any of it? The bald hero looked between them, finally understanding why they seemed so uncomfortable around him. It wasn't fear of his power. It was fear of irrelevance, of their hard-won heroism, meaning nothing in the face of someone who'd accidentally become a god. I should go, Saitama said. I'm making things weird. No, Batman said firmly. You should stay. Figure out your place in this world, but do it carefully, because every easy victory you earn is a reminder to every other hero that they're not enough. Below them, Gotham continued its eternal night. Somewhere, the Joker was being processed into Arkham, already planning his next escape. Somewhere, criminals plotted and heroes prepared. And on a rooftop overlooking it all, three figures stood in silence, contemplating the arrival of someone who could reshape everything simply by existing. In the shadows of a Gotham alley, unseen by even Batman's senses, a figure in an orange and black mask watched through binoculars. Deathstroke. The Terminator lowered them slowly, comlink active. Waller, he said quietly, I've located your anomaly. Designation, One Punch Man. Confirmed power levels match satellite data. He just neutralized the Joker in 3 seconds. Amanda Waller's voice came back cold and calculating. Good. Prepare dossier for Task Force X integration. I want him vetted, analyzed, and if possible, recruited. A weapon like that doesn't walk free. It works for us, or it doesn't work at all. He seems like a Boy Scout, Deathstroke warned. Everyone has a pressure point, Waller replied. Find his, and we own him. Waller out. The assassin melted back into Gotham's darkness, already compiling his report. Neither he nor the heroes above noticed the second observer, a small floating drone no bigger than a moth. Its apocalypse technology recording everything and transmitting it across light years to a throne room where red eyes glowed brighter with each passing second. Darkseid had seen enough. The being called Saitama was everything the reports suggested: limitless strength, absolute defense, and most importantly, profound boredom with his own existence. That boredom was a weakness more exploitable than kryptonite. The Lord of Apocalypse leaned back on his throne and spoke a single word into the darkness. Darkseid. From the shadows, the torturer of Apocalypse emerged, bowing. Yes, my lord? Ready the Furies. I want this One Punch Man, tested properly. Not to destroy him, I doubt that's possible, but to measure him, to understand him, to see if that eternal boredom might be turned toward more productive purposes. You seek to recruit him, Lord Darkseid? The god of tyranny smiled, an expression that had preceded the fall of civilizations. I seek to give him what he craves, a challenge. And in return, he will give me what I seek. The anti-life equation is the mathematical proof that free will is meaningless, that hope is illusion, that existence itself serves only my purpose. But what use is such an equation without the perfect weapon to enforce it? You believe he could be that weapon? I believe, Darkseid said, standing from his throne and staring at Earth through the cosmic void, that a being who has beaten everything might welcome the chance to join something, to serve a purpose greater than endless, meaningless victories, to finally belong. He raised a hand and opened a boom tube, its colors swirling with malevolent light. Send the Furies tomorrow. Make it a challenge worthy of his attention. Show him what a real fight looks like. And if he survives with that same bored expression, Darkseid's eyes glowed with Omega energy, then I will visit Earth myself and show this one-punch man what true power means. The boom tube closed. Darkseid bowed and withdrew to make preparations, and on his throne of fire and stone, the Lord of Apocalypse settled back, already planning the conversation that would reshape the balance of cosmic power. After all, every being had a weakness. For Saitama, it was the hunger for challenge, for meaning, for a fight that made him feel alive again. Darkseid was very good at giving people exactly what they wanted, and making them regret it forever. The Metropolis apartment Superman had arranged for Saitama wasn't much. A one-bedroom in the Hobbs Bay district with water-stained ceilings and a view of a brick wall. But it came furnished. The rent was covered by a Justice League discretionary fund, and most importantly, the landlord didn't ask questions about the bald tenant who'd moved in without any identification, credit history, or apparent job. Saitama sat on the second-hand couch, flipping through channels on a TV that only got basic cable. Cooking shows, news coverage of superhero battles, late-night talk shows, making jokes about the latest alien invasion. He stopped on Gotham News Network, where a reporter stood outside Arkham Asylum discussing the Joker's recapture. Experts say the villain known as One Punch Man, who witnesses describe as a bald man in a yellow jumpsuit, single-handedly neutralized the Joker's hospital siege in under 5 seconds. While parents are grateful for the children's safety, criminologists are concerned about this new vigilante's use of force and lack of accountability. The Justice League has declined to comment on whether this One Punch Man is affiliated with their organization, and Gotham PD is... Saitama turned off the TV. Villain. They'd called him a villain. He'd saved kids and they were calling him dangerous, unaccountable, concerning. In his world, he was a B-class hero, ignored by the media and less convenient. Here, he was famous after one day, and they were already afraid of him. A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. He opened it to find Wonder Woman standing in the hallway, wearing civilian clothes, but still somehow radiating divine presence. Her dark hair fell over a leather jacket that couldn't hide her warrior's bearing. "Diana," Saitama said, surprised. "Is something wrong? Another fight?" "No, I came to check on you." She glanced past him at the sparse apartment. "May I come in?" He stepped aside and she entered, taking in the minimal furnishings, the lack of personal effects, the emptiness of a life lived without attachments. She'd seen barracks with more personality. "You live very simply," Diana observed. "Don't need much," Saitama replied, sitting back on the couch. "In my world, I had a smaller place than this. Never saw the point in stuff." Diana sat in the single chair across from him. Her centuries of diplomatic experience, reading what his words didn't say. This was a man who'd stopped investing in life because nothing lasted. Nothing challenged him, nothing mattered except the next meaningless fight. "I wanted to speak with you about today," she said. "What happened with the Joker? Batman already told me I did it wrong. You saved 43 children without a single casualty. You did it perfectly." Diana leaned forward, her voice carrying the weight of truth. "But Batman is right to be concerned, even if his methods of expression are blunt. You wield power that makes even the gods seem limited. How you use that power will define you in this world." "I'm just trying to help," Saitama said quietly. "Same as I did back home." "I know, but help can take many forms." Diana paused, choosing her words carefully. In ancient Greece, there were heroes like Hercules, blessed with divine strength. Some used it to defend the innocent. Others became drunk on their own power, reshaping the world to their will, deciding for mortals what was best rather than letting them choose. The line between protector and tyrant is thinner than you might think. Saitama met her eyes. "You think I'm going to become a tyrant?" "No. I think you're lonely, bored, and searching for meaning in a universe that refuses to challenge you. That makes you vulnerable, not to physical harm, but to bad ideas presented as solutions." Diana's Amazon training, her experience as a warrior and diplomat, told her this conversation mattered more than any battle. There are beings in this universe who will see your power and your emptiness, and they will offer to fill that void. They will promise you purpose, belonging, the worthy opponent you crave, and in return, they will ask you to do things that seem reasonable at first, but lead down darker paths. Like who? Before Diana could answer, the window exploded inward. Not shattered, exploded as if reality itself had decided glass shouldn't exist in that space. 3 figures descended through the opening on trails of fire, landing in combat formation on Saitama's cheap carpet. Granny Goodness, ancient and terrible in her armored bulk, carrying a mega rod crackling with energy. Lashina, her whip already uncoiling, each segment capable of cutting starship hulls. And Big Barda, the largest of the 3, wielding her mega rod like a warrior born, because she was, raised from birth to serve Darkseid's will. "One punch man," Granny Goodness said, her voice like nails on a coffin. "Lord Darkseid extends his greetings and an invitation to test yourself against Apocalypse's finest warriors. He has heard of your boredom and wishes to provide entertainment." Diana was on her feet instantly, reaching for weapons she wasn't carrying. Saitama stood more slowly, looking at the 3 intruders with the same mild interest he might show a delivery driver. "You guys just broke my window," he said. "The landlord's gonna be mad about that." "Your window?" Granny cackled. "Child, Darkseid offers you the chance to fight real opponents, to finally experience the challenge you claim to seek. And you worry about glass." "I mean, I just moved in," Saitama pointed out. "It's rude." Lashina's whip snapped forward faster than sound, each segment designed to slice through Superman-level durability. It wrapped around Saitama's torso 3 times, the cutting edges activating with enough force to vivisect a Xarnian. Saitama looked down at the glowing whip, then back up at Lashina. "Is this supposed to hurt?" She yanked with strength that had once pulled a moon out of orbit. Saitama didn't move. The whip snapped back, smoking from the strain. Several segments cracked. Big Barda stepped forward, and Diana saw something in the warrior's eyes. Recognition. Barda had escaped Apocalypse, had joined the heroes of Earth, but here she stood with her former tormentors. Compromised somehow, or coerced. "I apologize for this," Barda said quietly, raising her mega rod. "Lord Darkseid commands." She swung with technique refined over centuries of warfare, the mega rod channeling energy that could shatter planets. It connected with Saitama's head with a sound like the universe cracking. The entire apartment building shook. Windows shattered for 3 blocks. Car alarms wailed. Saitama's head tilted slightly from the impact. He straightened it, rubbed the spot where he'd been hit, and looked at Barda with the first spark of interest he'd shown since arriving in DC. "That actually had some force behind it," he said. "Like, actually force. Can you do that again?" Barda stared at her weapon, then at Saitama, then at the weapon again. The Mega Rod hadn't just failed to harm him. He'd absorbed a blow that should have pulverized adamantium and requested an encore. Fascinating, Granny Goodness breathed. The reports were accurate. He truly is limitless. She tapped her own Mega Rod on the floor and a boom tube opened behind her. One Punch Man. Lord Darkseid invites you to Apocalypse. Come if you dare, and face challenges that would make gods weep. Apocalypse? Saitama perked up. Is that where Darkseid lives? Superman mentioned him. The Lord of Apocalypse, the god of tyranny, the destroyer of worlds, Granny proclaimed. He sits upon a throne of fire and judges all beings unworthy. If you seek a true challenge, if you hunger for an opponent who might, just might, survive more than one of your punches, then step through and face him. Diana lunged forward. Saitama, no, it's a trap. Darkseid doesn't offer anything without... But Saitama was already walking toward the boom tube, that spark of interest now a small flame of actual enthusiasm. A god who might survive more than one punch? Really? Perhaps, Granny said, her smile predatory. There's only one way to find out. Saitama, listen to me. Diana grabbed his arm, not to restrain him, she knew that was impossible, but to emphasize her point. Darkseid is not like the villains you've faced. He doesn't fight fairly. He manipulates, corrupts, turns beings against themselves. Whatever he's offering, it comes with a price you don't want to pay. Saitama looked at her hand on his arm, then at her face, seeing genuine concern there. But he might be strong enough to make me feel something. To make a fight last more than one punch, isn't that worth checking out? Not if it costs you your soul, Diana said fiercely. I've seen what Darkseid does to warriors. He breaks them, reshapes them, makes them into weapons for his conquest. Is a good fight worth becoming a tool of genocide? I wouldn't become evil just to fight someone, Saitama said, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. I'd just fight him and come back. No one just fights Darkseid, Diana insisted. Batman, Superman, and I, together, have barely held him at bay. He is entropy incarnate, the heat death of free will. If you go to Apocalypse, you may never return the same. The Furies watched this exchange with tactical patience. They'd been ordered to recruit, not abduct. Darkseid wanted Saitama to choose this path, to walk into the trap eyes open because that made the corruption so much sweeter. Your warrior friend speaks truth, Big Barda said, and Diana's eyes widened at the barely perceptible emphasis. Warrior friend. Barda was still in there, still fighting her conditioning. Apocalypse is suffering incarnate, but it is also challenge. Real challenge, the kind that makes you question everything. See? Saitama gestured at Barda. Even she says it's a real challenge. She's also warning you away. Diana was nearly shouting now, Amazon blood boiling at the thought of losing this innocent soul to Darkseid's manipulation. Saitama, I understand your hunger for meaning. I understand feeling like your power isolates you. But throwing yourself at Darkseid won't fill that void. It will make it worse. Then what will fill it? The question came out raw, honest, stripped of Saitama's usual deadpan delivery. I've been the strongest for years. I protect people. I fight monsters. I do everything a hero is supposed to do, and I feel nothing. No satisfaction, no joy, no sense of accomplishment. Just endless, crushing boredom. If this Darkseid guy can actually make me struggle, make me feel like battles matter again, why shouldn't I go? Diana saw it then. The real danger. Not that Saitama would lose a physical battle, but that he'd win it and still feel empty. And in that emptiness, Darkseid would plant seeds of something worse. Because, she said quietly, releasing his arm and standing back, if you fight him and win easily, you will have proven to yourself that even gods are meaningless. And if you fight him and he offers you purpose, belonging, a cause to serve, you'll be vulnerable in a way no amount of strength can protect against. Promise me you won't go. Saitama looked at the boom tube, at Diana, at the Furies waiting with calculated patience. Every instinct, every fiber of his being that had become bored with easy victories, screamed at him to step through, to finally face something worthy. But Diana's words echoed in his mind. Is a good fight worth becoming a tool of genocide? Saitama started, then stopped. His hand clenched into a fist, unclenched. I need to think about it. There is nothing to think about, Granny Goodness snarled, patience evaporating. Lord Darkseid has extended his invitation. To refuse is to declare yourself a coward, unworthy of his attention. Then I guess I'm a coward, Saitama said flatly. Get out of my apartment. The temperature dropped. Lashina's whip rose again. Granny's eyes glowed with apocalypse technology. Big Barda shifted her stance, Mega Rod ready, but her expression conflicted. You dare refuse? Saitama took one step forward. Just one. But in that movement, something shifted. The casual, bored hero vanished, replaced by something that had broken its limiter and stood beyond mortal comprehension. His eyes, usually half-lidded with disinterest, focused completely on Granny Goodness. I said, get out. Wonder Woman felt it then. The weight of absolute power no longer pretending to be casual. The air itself seemed to compress around Saitama, reality acknowledging that something without limits had just decided to stop holding back. The Furies, warriors of apocalypse who'd faced gods and won, took an involuntary step backward. We leave, Big Barda said quickly, grabbing Granny's arm. Lord Darkseid's invitation stands. When you change your mind, One Punch Man, and you will, we will be waiting. They retreated through the boom tube, which closed with a sound like disappointed thunder. Silence filled the ruined apartment. Saitama's posture relaxed, the pressure vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. He looked at the broken window, the scorched carpet, the cracks in the wall. My deposit's definitely gone, he said. Diana stared at him, her divine senses still processing what she'd felt in that moment. Not rage, not killing intent, just pressure. The weight of someone who could unmake reality if they chose, compressed into a simple command to leave. She'd fought beside gods, challenged Ares himself, stood before Zeus. None of them had made her instinct scream danger the way that single step had. Thank you, she said finally, for choosing wisdom over pride. Did I? Saitama sat back on the couch, his usual boredom settling over him like a familiar coat. Or did I just prove that even when offered a real challenge, I'm too scared to take it? You're not scared. You're cautious. There's a difference. Feels the same from here. He looked at his gloved hand again, that gesture Diana was beginning to recognize as his tell for deep thought. Superman asked me if I ever felt lonely. I told him no, but that was a lie. I'm so lonely I can barely remember what connection feels like. And when those women offered me a fight that might actually matter, might actually make me struggle. Part of me wanted to go just to feel something real. Diana sat back down, her warrior's heart aching for this strange, powerful soul. I know what it's like to be set apart by strength, to walk among mortals as something more and feel the distance that creates. But Saitama, isolation is not solved by seeking stronger opponents. It's solved by finding people who see you as more than just your power. Yeah, well, good luck with that, Saitama muttered. Everyone I meet either wants to fight me, is scared of me, or treats me like a weapon. Batman sees a threat to contain. Superman sees a responsibility to manage. You're the first person who's talked to me like I'm just a person. Then let me help you, Diana said. Not as warriors, but as friends. Let me show you what makes this universe worth protecting beyond the challenge it provides. There is beauty here, culture, connection, things that matter more than any fight. Saitama looked at her for a long moment. Why? What's in it for you? The satisfaction of knowing I helped someone who needed it. Diana smiled. That's what heroes do, Saitama. We help, not for glory, not for challenge, but because it's right. He considered this, then nodded slowly. Okay, but if something strong does show up, I'm fighting it. Fair enough. They sat in the ruined apartment, an Amazon princess and a hero who'd accidentally become a god, sharing a moment of genuine connection in a universe that didn't understand either of them. Outside, Metropolis continued its endless cycle of hope and danger. And somewhere across the cosmos, Darkseid leaned back on his throne, watching through sensors, and smiled. The bait had been refused. Good. That meant when he made the next offer, more carefully tailored, more precisely targeted at the bald hero's emptiness, it would land that much harder. Patience was a virtue, after all, and the Lord of Apocalypse had eternity. The House of Mystery existed in the spaces between, a building that appeared where it was needed and vanished when it wasn't. John Constantine stood in its library, smoking despite the no-smoking signs, flipping through a grimoire that screamed whenever he turned a page. He barely noticed. The Hellblazer had seen worse. The door opened without anyone knocking. Zatanna Zatara entered, top hat slightly askew, fishnet stockings somehow managing to look dignified. Behind her floated Dr. Fate, the golden helmet of Nabu containing ancient wisdom and cosmic awareness. And behind them all, looking thoroughly uncomfortable, came Saitama. Right then, Constantine said, stubbing out his cigarette on a book that hissed. This is the bloke who's got Apocalypse, the League, and half the magical community in a tizzy. Doesn't look like much. Appearances deceive, Constantine. Dr. Fate's voice echoed from multiple dimensions simultaneously. This being registers as an impossibility on 17 different planes of existence. His power signature defies the natural order. Ut Gnighty-Reeve, Zatanna said, and Saitama's entire body lit up with magical energy for a moment before fizzling out like a damp sparkler. She frowned. Tau, that should have revealed any magical enhancements, curses, or divine blessings. He's showing nothing, completely mundane. I'm just a normal guy, Saitama confirmed, looking around the library filled with floating books and whispering shadows. Are those books alive? Some of them, Constantine replied, lighting another cigarette and noting how Saitama didn't even blink at the impossibility. Right. So let me get this straight. Superman called in a favor because you're apparently strong enough to make even Wonder Woman's punch feel like a mosquito bite, but magic can't detect anything special about you. That's bollocks. It's the truth, Dr. Fate said, helmet glowing as Nabu analyzed their guest. He exists outside conventional power structures. Not divine, not alien, not mutant, not magical. Simply beyond. The helmet cannot comprehend how this occurred. Saitama shrugged. I broke my limiter through training. Your what? Zatanna asked. Limiter. Everyone has one. The thing that caps how strong you can get. I broke mine by training really hard. Now I don't have a cap. He said it like he was describing his morning routine. Constantine and Zatanna exchanged glances. Dr. Fate's helmet blazed brighter. Nabu's cosmic awareness struggling with a concept that shouldn't exist. That's not how reality works, Constantine said slowly. There are fundamental laws, thermodynamics, magical equilibrium, cosmic balance. You can't just break infinity and expect the universe to shrug. I did, though. Yes, well, clearly. Constantine took a long drag on his cigarette. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because in your universe, apparently breaking your limiter is something that can happen. But you're not in your universe anymore. You're in ours, where magic has rules, power has sources, and strength comes from somewhere. I came from training. No one trains their way to godhood, mate. Trust me, I've tried. There's always a cost, always a source, always a cosmic ledger that demands balance. Constantine circled Saitama like a predator studying prey. So either you're lying, you're deluded, or you're proof that your universe operates on fundamentally different rules than ours. And if it's the third option, then his presence here destabilizes our reality. Dr. Fate finished. Power without source, strength without limit, effect without cause. He is a walking paradox, and paradoxes unravel the fabric of existence. Saitama blinked. That sounds bad. It is bad, Zatanna said, though her tone was more fascinated than angry. Every spell I cast assumes certain universal constants. If those constants can just be broken through training, then magic itself becomes meaningless. Do you understand what that means? Not really, Saitama admitted. Constantine laughed. A bitter sound. Of course you don't. You're too busy being a walking middle finger to everything we thought we knew. He stubbed out his cigarette on reality itself, leaving a small scorch mark in the air. Right. Superman wants us to figure out if you're vulnerable to magic. Let's test it properly, shall we? Try not to kill him, Zatanna warned. Love, I don't think that's possible. Constantine raised his hands, speaking words in backward speech, Latin, and something that predated language. The air around Saitama twisted, compressed, attempting to trap him in a dimensional prison. Saitama looked at the swirling energy with mild interest. Is this supposed to do something? The spell collapsed. Constantine stared at his hands. Bloody hell, I just tried to shunt you into the same dimension that held Trigon for 3 centuries. It didn't even slow you down. Maybe I'm immune to magic, Saitama suggested. No, you're not immune, Dr. Fate said, helmet dimming as Nabu withdrew slightly, overwhelmed. Immunity implies resistance, a counterforce. You simply exist beyond its relevance. Magic affects reality. You exist outside reality's rules. Zatanna tried next. Transformation spells, binding curses, even a simple levitation charm. Each one fizzled against Saitama's casual existence like waves against a mountain. Not repelled, not countered, simply irrelevant. This is terrifying, she said finally. I'm one of the most powerful magicians on Earth, and I can't even make him float. Could you try harder? Saitama asked. I mean, no offense, but if magic's supposed to be dangerous to me, I should probably feel it, right? Constantine's eye twitched. You want us to try harder? Right. Zatanna, love, remember that time we accidentally opened a portal to the fallen angel's prison? We swore never to use that spell again. Desperate times. Constantine began drawing a circle on the floor with chalk that bled. Dr. Fate, I'll need you to anchor the spell. This is going to piss off heaven, hell, and everything in between. Nabu advises against this course of action. Yeah, well, Nabu can bugger off. I need to know. They worked together, Constantine's cunning, Zatanna's power, and Dr. Fate's cosmic awareness combining into a spell that would have made God himself take notice. Symbols blazed. Languages older than humanity burned in the air. Reality screamed as they opened a crack in existence and directed its full weight at Saitama. The bald hero stood in the center of the magical maelstrom, power that could unmake galaxies swirling around him, and raised one hand to shield his eyes from the bright lights. This is pretty, he commented. Lots of colors. The spell detonated. The House of Mystery, which had survived the first battle of hell, cracked down the middle. Books flew off shelves, windows shattered, and in the center of it all, Saitama stood completely unharmed, not even dust on his yellow suit. Constantine collapsed to his knees, magically exhausted. Zatanna caught herself on a bookshelf, breathing hard. Dr. Fate flickered, Nabu's presence withdrawing to recuperate. Well, Constantine said hoarsely, that's that then. He's not vulnerable to magic. He's not vulnerable to anything. He's just invulnerable. As a state of being. I tried to tell you, Saitama said. Nothing really hurts me anymore. It's been that way since I broke my limiter. How are you not terrified of your own existence? Zatanna asked. If I had power like that, I'd be constantly afraid of accidentally destroying something. I hold back, Saitama explained, like a lot. Most of the time I'm using maybe 1% of my strength. Otherwise I'd punch through planets or whatever. 1%, Constantine repeated. Bloody hell, what happens at full power? I don't know, never needed it. Saitama's perpetual boredom returned. That's kind of the problem. Nothing's ever strong enough to make me go full power. I keep hoping, keep searching, but every fight ends the same way. The door to the House of Mystery opened again. This time it was Lex Luthor who entered. Flanked by Mercy Graves and carrying a briefcase that probably cost more than the entire building. Ah, excellent, Luthor said, smile sharp as a razor. The magical community has failed, just as I predicted. Constantine, Zatanna, Dr. Fate, you've done marvelous work confirming what I already knew. Our visitor is beyond conventional countermeasures. How did you get in here? Constantine demanded. This place is warded against. Your wards assume I'm human, Luthor interrupted. I've enhanced myself far beyond that limitation. But we're not here to discuss my brilliance. We're here to discuss his. He looked at Saitama with eyes that calculated value like a machine. One Punch Man, may I call you that? It's what the media settled on. Saitama's fine. Saitama, then, I have a proposition for you. Luthor opened the briefcase, revealing holographic data. You're powerful, yes, but power without direction is merely chaos. You've been adrift since arriving in our universe, helping Superman with street crimes, fighting the occasional apocalypse probe. But what if I told you there was a better way? Here we go, Constantine muttered. The devil makes his offer. Hardly, Luthor smiled. I'm simply a businessman who recognizes an opportunity when I seize one. Saitama, you're bored because you're surrounded by inferior challenges. But what if, instead of waiting for strong opponents to find you, we created them? Saitama's eyes narrowed slightly. Created them how? Luthor gestured, and the hologram showed scientific diagrams, genetic manipulation, technology integration, magical enhancement. LexCorp has the resources to elevate worthy candidates to your level. Not permanently, perhaps, but enough to give you the challenge you crave. We could create controlled scenarios where you face opponents specifically designed to test your limits. You want to make people strong just so I can fight them? Saitama's voice was flat. That's messed up. Is it? These would be willing volunteers. Criminals scheduled for life sentences, terminal patients seeking meaning, warriors hungry for glory. We'd give them power, you'd give them a legendary battle, and afterward we'd study the results to further human evolution. Everyone wins. Except the people you're turning into test subjects, Zatanna said disgustedly. Lex, even for you this is low. It's pragmatic, Luthor corrected. Superman will never approve, of course. He'll insist we wait for natural threats, endangering billions in the name of moral purity. But you, Saitama, you're not bound by his outdated ethics. You're a practical hero. You see a problem, you punch it. Simple, effective, honest. Saitama stared at Luthor for a long moment. The businessman held his gaze, confidence unshakable. He'd made this pitch 1,000 times in 1,000 boardrooms, always calibrating his approach to what the mark wanted to hear. And what Saitama wanted was clear. Challenge, purpose, meaning. No, Saitama said finally. Luthor's smile didn't falter. No? Creating strong people just so I can fight them is stupid. They'd just be artificial, designed to lose. That's not a real challenge. That's just a punching bag with extra steps. Saitama walked toward the door. If I'm gonna fight someone strong, they need to be strong on their own, not because you made them that way in a lab. Even if it means eternal boredom, Luthor called after him. even if it means spending the rest of your existence watching everyone else struggle while you remain untested, unfulfilled, alone. Saitama stopped at the door, hand on the frame. For a moment, just a moment, his shoulders sagged under the weight of that truth. Then he straightened. Yeah, even then. Because the other option is becoming the kind of person who uses people as entertainment. And I'm not that yet. He left. The door closed behind him with a sound like judgment. Constantine started laughing, a bitter, genuine sound. Oh, Lex, you magnificent bastard. You actually tried to corrupt the incorruptible with the one thing he wants most, and he still told you to sod off. A temporary setback, Luther said, closing his briefcase. Everyone has a price, Constantine, even him. I simply need to find the right currency. He turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I hope he maintains that moral clarity. It will make his eventual fall so much more satisfying to witness. After Luthor departed, the three magic users stood in the damaged house of mystery, processing what they'd learned. He's not vulnerable to magic, Zatanna summarized. He can't be corrupted by simple offers of power, and he holds enough strength to reshape reality but chooses not to. Which makes him either the greatest hero this universe has ever seen, Dr. Fate added, or the greatest threat. The line between the two is thinner than atoms. My money's on both, Constantine said, lighting yet another cigarette. He's gonna save us all or doom us all, probably on the same bloody day. He looked at the crack in the house's wall, magical energy still sparking. I need a drink, several drinks, maybe an entire pub. In an observation room at LexCorp Tower, Lex Luthor reviewed the footage of his encounter with Saitama, analyzing every micro-expression, every moment of hesitation. The bald hero had refused his offer, yes, but that moment at the door, that pause, that wait, told Luthor everything he needed to know. Saitama was strong, moral, and deeply, profoundly lonely. The first two could withstand temptation, but the third, that was the vulnerability Luthor would exploit. He made a call. Mercy, I need you to compile data on every being in this universe who might pose a challenge to One Punch Man. Gods, demons, cosmic entities, anything that operates beyond conventional power scales. Sir, we've already confirmed he's beyond most threats. I'm not looking for beings to defeat him, Mercy. I'm looking for beings to befriend him. If I can't corrupt him directly, I'll surround him with people who can. People who'll slowly, carefully, show him that his restraint is weakness, that his morality is naivety, that power, like his demands, to be used. Luthor smiled at his reflection in the window. After all, Superman fell to tyranny in the injustice timeline. With the right pressure, the right tragedy, the right nudge, so will our One Punch Man. The call ended, and in an office thousands of miles away, Amanda Waller received a message marked urgent. She opened it, read Luthor's proposal, and smiled that cold, calculating smile that meant someone's freedom was about to end. Task Force X needs a new member, she said to herself. And I think the One Punch Man just volunteered. The black SUV pulled up outside Saitama's apartment building at 3 a.m. Amanda Waller stepped out, flanked by 4 heavily armed soldiers whose weapons were pointed at the ground but ready to rise in milliseconds. She'd learned long ago that recruitment worked best when the target was disoriented, off balance, vulnerable. 3 in the morning usually accomplished that. She hadn't counted on Saitama being awake, sitting on his repaired windowsill, staring at the Metropolis skyline with that same empty expression he wore like armor. One Punch Man, Waller called up. We need to talk, now. Saitama looked down at her, then at the soldiers, then jumped. He landed on the pavement with enough force to crack it. His usual entrance, and straightened, hands in his pockets. Who are you? Amanda Waller, Director of Argus, Overseer of Task Force X, and the person who decides which metahumans are assets and which are threats. She studied him with eyes that had stared down Superman without flinching. You've been on Earth for 5 days. In that time, you've interfered with Justice League operations, refused to register with any governmental body, demonstrated power that makes nuclear weapons look like firecrackers, and turned down Lex Luthor's offer, which tells me you're either smart or stupid, and I haven't decided which. I'm just trying to help, Saitama said. Help? Waller's voice dripped contempt. You helped the Joker into a coma. He's still unconscious, by the way. Doctors say his brain might have been scrambled by whatever you did. Now, I'm not shedding tears for that psychopath, but you tapped him into a vegetative state without trial, without due process, without accountability. That's not help. That's vigilantism with godlike power. He was about to blow up kids. And you stopped him. Congratulations, but what happens next time? What happens when you decide someone's guilty and you're wrong? What happens when you tap someone to sleep and they never wake up? Waller stepped closer, fearless. You're an unregulated weapon walking around my planet, and I don't allow that, ever. Saitama's expression didn't change. So what do you want? I want you to join Task Force X, the Suicide Squad, as the media calls it. You'd work for me, undertake missions that require your particular skill set, and in return, I'd provide you with legal protection, resources, and most importantly, she smiled without warmth, targets. Real ones. The kind of threats that make Superman nervous. The kind that might actually challenge you. Let me guess, Saitama said flatly. You put a bomb in my head and make me fight your battles. The bomb's negotiable, Waller admitted. I doubt it would work anyway, but the principle stands. You work for me or you work against me. And trust me, you don't want to work against me. I've brought down Metas stronger than you think you are. No, you haven't. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Waller's jaw tightened. Behind her, the soldiers tensed. One Punch Man wasn't threatening her. He was simply stating a fact, and somehow that was worse. You're confident, Waller said. I respect that, but confidence without discipline gets people killed. My squad operates in the moral gray areas where the Justice League can't go. We do what's necessary, not what's nice. Black ops, wet work, impossible missions with acceptable casualties. You'd be perfect for it. I'm not killing people for you. Then you'll kill them for me accidentally when I send conventional forces to handle something that needs your power level. Waller pulled out a tablet, showing footage of devastation. This was Central City last week. A Zarnian bounty hunter went on a rampage. Superman was off-world. Flash tried to stop him, ended up in the ICU for 3 days. 47 dead. You could have ended it in one punch. Saitama looked at the footage, his expression impossible to read. That's how you recruit for this? He asked quietly. Show me people who died when I wasn't there. Make me feel guilty? I'm showing you reality, Waller corrected. You have power. I have intelligence networks and legal authority. Together, we could save thousands. Apart, people die in the gaps between your boredom and the League's bureaucracy. The Justice League doesn't have bureaucracy. The Justice League has principles, Waller said, contempt bleeding through. Principles that mean they'd rather let a city burn than compromise their moral purity. But I'm pragmatic, one-punch man. I see a problem, I solve it. I see a weapon, I use it. And you're the most powerful weapon that's ever existed. Saitama finally showed emotion, a flicker of anger in his perpetually bored eyes. I'm not a weapon. Everyone with power is a weapon. The only question is who's pulling the trigger. Waller stepped back, tablet away. You've got 24 hours to decide. Join the squad voluntarily, or I'll make your life so difficult you'll wish you had. I'll freeze your assets. Oh wait, you don't have any. I'll revoke your legal status. Already done. You're here illegally. I'll declare you an enemy combatant and send every hero I can blackmail after you until someone figures out how to contain you. Batman won't help you, Saitama said. Batman will do what's necessary to protect people from unregulated power. That's literally his thing. Waller smiled. Tick-tock, One-Punch Man. Clock's running. She turned to leave, soldiers falling in behind her. Saitama watched them go, hands still in his pockets, expression settling back into that familiar emptiness. "Mrs. Waller," he called out. She stopped, looked back. "I've heard this speech before," Saitama said. "Back in my world, there were organizations that wanted to use me too. Some tried to register me, some tried to control me, some tried to make me their weapon. You know what I did? Enlighten me. I ignored them. I kept being a hero my way, and eventually they left me alone because trying to control me was more trouble than it was worth." His eyes met hers, and for just a moment, Waller felt what Wonder Woman had felt. The weight of absolute power, choosing not to act. "You seem smart. Be smarter than they were." Waller held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded slowly. 24 hours. After that, we do this the hard way. The SUVs drove off into the Metropolis night. Saitama stood in the crater his landing had made, staring at nothing. He'd meant what he said. He wouldn't be anyone's weapon. But Waller's words echoed in his mind. 47 dead. You could have ended it in one punch. His phone rang, Superman's number. Saitama answered. "I heard Waller paid you a visit," Superman said, voice tight with controlled anger. "Are you okay?" "She wants me to join her suicide squad." "I know. Bruce has been monitoring her movements. Saitama, you can't trust her. Waller sees people as resources, nothing more. If you work for her, she'll use you until you break, then discard you." "She showed me footage of people who died when I wasn't there," Saitama said quietly. "Said I could have saved them." Superman was quiet for a moment. "You can't save everyone. Trust me, I've tried. You'll drive yourself insane thinking about the people you didn't save instead of the ones you did. But she's right, isn't she? I have this power. Shouldn't I be using it as much as possible? Every second I'm not fighting is a second someone could be dying." "That way leads to tyranny," Superman said firmly. "I've seen it, Saitama, in other timelines. In the Injustice universe, I became that hero, the one who decided his judgment was absolute, that his power meant he knew best. I conquered Earth for its own good and became the very thing I swore to fight. The only reason I haven't fallen that way here is because I choose every day to trust humanity's systems, even when they're slow, even when they're flawed, even when people die because of it. Even then, because the alternative is me deciding who lives and dies, and that's not heroism, that's godhood, and gods make terrible heroes." Saitama sat on his windowsill again, phone pressed to his ear, staring at the city. "I'm tired, Superman. I'm tired of being alone with this power. Tired of watching everyone struggle while I just exist. Waller's offer is terrible, I know that. But at least it's something. At least it's purpose. Purpose built on compromise isn't purpose, it's surrender," Superman said. "Look, tomorrow, come to the Watchtower. We'll talk about this properly, the whole Trinity. We'll find you a place in this universe that doesn't require selling your soul to people like Waller. Just don't make any decisions tonight, please." "Okay," Saitama agreed. "Tomorrow." He hung up and sat in silence, watching Metropolis sleep. Somewhere in the city, crimes were being committed. Somewhere, people needed help. And somewhere, Amanda Waller was reviewing footage of their conversation, analyzing his psychological vulnerabilities, preparing her next move. What neither of them knew was that someone else had been watching too. In Belle Reve Penitentiary, the Suicide Squad's base, Deadshot cleaned his weapon and smiled. Floyd Lawton had heard rumors of the new recruit, unstoppable, unbeatable, bored out of his mind. That made him predictable, and predictable, could be manipulated. "Waller's bringing in the One-Punch Man," Deadshot said to Harley Quinn, who was drawing hearts on the wall with crayon. "Means we're either going after something that'll kill us all, or she's finally lost her mind." "Why not both?" Harley giggled. "I met him once. Well, he saved some kids from Mr. J. Seemed nice, kinda sad though. Like Eeyore if Eeyore could destroy planets." "Sad and powerful is exploitable," Captain Boomerang added from his corner. $5 says Waller has him killing for her within a month." "I'll take that bet," Deadshot said. "My money's on 2 weeks." They laughed, dark humor masking the tension they all felt. A hero who couldn't be killed joining a squad designed to be expendable. That math didn't add up. Whatever Waller was planning, it was bigger than a simple recruitment. In her office, Amanda Waller closed the file on Saitama and opened another, marked Contingency, One-Punch Man. Inside were plans she'd developed over the past 5 days, each more extreme than the last. Psychological manipulation, fabricated threats, manufactured guilt, and if all else failed, the nuclear option, proof that his arrival in this universe was destabilizing reality itself, that every day he remained increased the probability of catastrophic dimensional collapse. She'd lied about the footage, of course. That Zarnian incident had happened 3 months ago, long before Saitama arrived. But truth was flexible when you were saving the world. The hardest targets to recruit were the incorruptible ones. They couldn't be bribed, threatened, or blackmailed through normal means. But everyone had a pressure point. For Saitama, it was guilt over his unused power and desperate hunger for purpose. Waller would give him both. And when she did, the most powerful being in existence would be hers to aim. She just hoped she could point him at enemies instead of allies when the time came. The call came at dawn, Batman's voice, strained in a way Superman had rarely heard. "Joker's awake, and he's killed 12 people in the last hour." Saitama was already in the Batcave when Superman arrived, having been collected by Nightwing, who'd been shadowing him per Batman's orders. The bald hero stood in front of the massive computer display, watching security footage from Gotham General Hospital with an expression that had moved past boredom into something darker. The Joker had woken from his coma, screaming about the bald man who broke him, then immediately strangled 2 nurses with their own stethoscopes. By the time security responded, he'd escaped, killing 4 guards with improvised weapons, a pen, a bedpan, his bare hands. Now he was loose in Gotham, and the footage Batman was streaming showed him in an elementary school. Children huddled in corners while he paced between them with a knife. "This is your fault," Batman said, not looking away from the screens. "You put him in that coma. You scrambled his brain. Now he's even more unstable, even more violent, and he's taking it out on children." "Bruce," Superman started. "No, he needs to hear this." Batman turned, white lenses boring into Saitama. "You thought you could just tap him to sleep and the problem would go away. But the Joker doesn't go away. He evolves, adapts, gets worse, and now he's specifically targeting innocents to draw you out." On screen, the Joker held up a phone, speaking directly to a camera. "One-Punch Man, Baldy, the hero who broke the Joker's brain." I woke up with such interesting thoughts in my head. You know what's funny? Before you touched me, I was chaos. Now I'm something worse. Chaos with purpose. Come to Gotham Elementary, where I start carving children into jokes you'll never forget. Saitama's fists clenched. Where is he? Gotham Elementary, East Side, Nightwing provided. But Batman's point stands. If you just charge in and knock him out again, who knows what'll happen next time he wakes up? Then what do you want me to do? Saitama's voice was tight. Let him kill kids while we debate philosophy? Batman stepped closer, and Superman recognized the expression. This was the Dark Knight making an impossible argument because someone had to. I want you to consider that your power, wielded carelessly, creates problems that outlast your intervention. The Joker has killed 47 people since waking up. That blood is on your hands. "That's not fair," Superman said, but his voice lacked conviction. He'd struggled with these same questions for years. Fair. Nothing about this is fair, but it's reality. Batman pulled up more footage. The Joker's victims, families weeping, the chaos spreading through Gotham. "Saitama, you have the power to end this permanently. One punch, delivered with intent to kill. The Joker dies, thousands of future victims live. It's simple math." The Batcave went silent. Superman's eyes widened. Nightwing looked at his mentor in shock. "Bruce," Superman said carefully, "you're not seriously suggesting I'm stating facts. Saitama has the power to solve a problem that I've failed to solve for years. A problem that costs lives daily. If he killed the Joker right now, Gotham would be safer. Thousands would live. And yet we don't, because we've decided our moral purity matters more than those lives." "You don't believe that," Superman said. "What I believe doesn't matter. What matters is the choice in front of him." Batman's attention never left Saitama. "You wanted a challenge, didn't you? Something more difficult than physically fighting villains? Here it is. The real challenge that every hero with your level of power faces. Do you cross the line and become something else, or do you maintain your principles and watch people die because of it?" Saitama stared at the screen, watching the Joker pace among terrified children. "In my world, I killed monsters, beings that only wanted to destroy, but I never killed a human, no matter how evil." "Why?" Batman asked. Because that's what heroes do. We stop villains. We don't execute them. Even when the system fails? Even when they escape and kill again and again?" Batman's voice was relentless. "I've watched the Joker murder thousands. I've stood over the bodies of children and told their parents that I'm sorry, that I'll catch him, that justice will be served. And then he escapes, and we do it again. At what point does my commitment to not killing become complicity in his murders?" "Bruce, stop," Superman said firmly. "You're projecting your own guilt onto him. We all struggle with the Joker, but pushing Saitama to kill isn't the answer. Then what is?" Batman spun toward Superman, and for a moment the mask cracked, showing the exhausted man beneath. "I'm tired, Clark. Tired of watching him kill. Tired of knowing I could stop it permanently and choosing not to. Tired of being one bad day away from crossing a line I can never come back from, and now here's someone who doesn't have to cross that line. He's so powerful that killing the Joker wouldn't even register as violence. It would just be solving a problem." Saitama walked toward the Batcave exit. "I'm going to save those kids." "And the Joker," Batman called after him. "I'll stop him. Same as before. And when he wakes up and kills again." Saitama stopped, shoulders tense. "That's not my choice to make. You said it yourself. The moment I start deciding who lives and dies, I stop being a hero. I become something else. And I've had this power for years without becoming that thing. I'm not starting now." He jumped, crater in the Batcave floor, gone into the Gotham morning. Superman and Batman stood in silence. Nightwing had retreated, uncomfortable witnessing this conflict between his mentors. "You weren't actually trying to convince him to kill the Joker," Superman said quietly. "No. I was testing whether he could be convinced, whether absolute power plus desperation would corrupt him." Batman turned back to his computers. He passed. For now. "You're playing dangerous games, Bruce. I'm preparing for the day when he doesn't pass, because that day will come, Clark. It always does." Gotham Elementary was surrounded by GCPD when Saitama landed. Commissioner Gordon turned, hand on his weapon, then relaxed slightly when he recognized the yellow suit. "One Punch Man. Batman sent you." "The Joker's inside. Library. He's barricaded himself with 30 kids and 2 teachers. Says he wants to have a conversation with you about brain damage and comedy." Gordon's expression was grim. My people can't get close. He's rigged the doors with explosives. I'll get them out. Saitama walked through the front doors, which exploded as soon as he touched them. The blast washed over him like a gentle breeze. He continued down the hallway, past lockers decorated with children's drawings, following the sound of manic laughter. The library doors hung open. Inside, the Joker sat on a desk, knife spinning in his fingers, surrounded by children too terrified to cry. When he saw Saitama, his smile widened impossibly. The hero returns. Come to break my brain again, because I have to tell you, the first time really rattled some interesting things loose. The Joker hopped down, approaching with that distinctive, disjointed walk. Did you know that in the moment you tapped my forehead, I saw something? A nothing, a void, the complete and total absence of meaning, and it was beautiful. Let the kids go, Saitama said. Why? So you can feel good about yourself, so you can maintain that nice hero image. The Joker circled him, knife gleaming. I did some research while I was napping. You're from another dimension, right? Strongest hero there ever was. But here's what's funny. Back in your world, you killed monsters, beings that threatened humanity. You didn't hesitate, didn't struggle with morality. You just killed them and went home. So, why not me? You're not a monster. Oh, but I am. The Joker laughed. I'm the worst kind of monster, the kind that looks human, that speaks your language, that makes you question whether killing me makes you like me. But you know what's really funny? All those philosophical complications only matter to you. To these children, he gestured at the terrified kids. I'm just the thing that's going to hurt them, and you could stop it. One punch. Same as you'd use on any monster. Saitama stood very still. Let them go first. No, no, no. You don't get to negotiate. This isn't a hostage situation. It's a moral thought experiment. The Joker pressed the knife against a child's throat. Here's the punchline. You can save these kids right now by killing me. One punch, I'm done. They go home safe. Or you can knock me out again, and maybe I wake up even worse, and next time you're not here fast enough. What's it gonna be, hero? The child whimpered. Saitama's hand rose, fist clenching. The Joker's smile grew wider, anticipating victory. Either he'd die and prove the hero was a killer, or he'd live and prove the hero was a fool. Saitama moved, not toward the Joker, but past him, gathering all 30 children and 2 teachers in his arms, somehow carrying them all at once, and walking out of the library before the Joker could process what happened. He deposited them outside with Gordon, then turned back toward the building. The Joker stood in the library doorway, knife lowered, expression shifting from manic joy to something like respect. That was clever, but you still haven't solved the problem. I'm still here, still going to kill, still going to make your heroism look like a joke? Yeah, Saitama agreed. You probably will, and I'll stop you again, and again, and as many times as it takes. That's so sad, though. Don't you get tired of the same fight? Every fight is the same to me, Saitama said flatly. You're not special. You're just another villain who thinks being crazy makes you interesting. It doesn't. You're boring. For the first time, genuine anger flashed across the Joker's face. Boring. I'm the clown prince of crime. I've broken Batman. I've killed thousands. I'm the punchline to existence itself. You're a guy with a knife who hurts kids because you think it makes you important. Saitama walked forward. And I'm gonna tap you to sleep again. Maybe this time you'll wake up worse. Maybe you'll kill more people. But I'm not becoming a killer to stop you, because that's not what heroes do. We stop villains. We don't become them. The Joker laughed, high and desperate. Then you're a fool. And all those future deaths are on you. Maybe. Saitama flicked his finger. The pressure wave knocked the Joker unconscious mid-laugh. He crumpled, knife clattering across linoleum. But they're not on my hands. They're on yours. Batman emerged from the shadows. He'd been there the whole time, observing. He looked at the unconscious Joker, then at Saitama. "He's right, you know," Batman said quietly. "Those future deaths will be partially your responsibility. The moment you could have stopped it permanently and chose not to, you became complicit." "No," Saitama said, surprising himself with the firmness in his voice. "I became a hero who trusts that there's a better solution than killing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right and he'll never stop. But the second I start killing humans because it's convenient, I stop being someone who deserves this power." Batman studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Good answer. Wait, you weren't actually—" "I was testing you. Darkseid will make similar arguments, more persuasively, backed by genuine philosophical weight. I needed to know you could resist." Batman looked at the Joker. "I don't have an answer to the moral question he represents. I've struggled with it for years. But I respect that you found your answer and held to it. Even though people might die because of it. Especially because of it. That's what makes it heroism instead of pragmatism." Batman's cape swirled as he turned. "Take him to Arkham. I'll make sure they upgrade his containment. And Saitama, thank you for not taking the easy path." As GCPD secured the Joker, Commissioner Gordon approached Saitama. "The kids wanted me to say thanks. Their parents too. I just did what anyone would do." "No," Gordon corrected, lighting his pipe. "You did what a hero would do. There's a difference. Gotham's seen enough people with power who decided their judgment trumped the law. We don't need another one, no matter how good their intentions." Saitama nodded, exhaustion settling over him. Not physical, but spiritual. He'd passed Batman's test, resisted the Joker's manipulation, saved the children. And yet he felt hollow because he knew the clown was right about one thing. He'd be back. They'd do this again and again. And next time, Saitama might not arrive in time. Was Batman right? Was his moral stance just self-indulgence that cost lives? He didn't know, and that uncertainty gnawed at him worse than any physical wound ever could. As he left Gotham, the city's darkness following him like judgment, Saitama didn't notice the boom tube signature manifesting briefly at the edge of his perception. Darkseid had watched the entire encounter, and the Lord of Apocalypse smiled. The hero had held his moral line. Good. That meant when Darkseid finally broke it, the corruption would be absolute, and the Lord of Apocalypse knew exactly how to break someone who'd just proven themselves unbreakable. Show them that their restraint killed someone they loved. The pieces were almost in position. Soon, very soon, the One-Punch Man would learn that in this universe, heroism without ruthlessness was just another word for weakness. And when he finally accepted that lesson, Darkseid would be there to welcome him to enlightenment. The sky over Metropolis tore open 3 days later. Not a boom tube this time, but something worse. A reality breach so massive that Superman felt it before he saw it. The fabric of space-time splitting like wet paper, and through the gap, fire and darkness and the smell of burning worlds. Darkseid stepped onto Earth's soil, and the ground cracked beneath his feet. Not from weight, but from presence. Reality itself recoiling from the god of tyranny. Behind him, Apocalypse loomed through the dimensional rift, a world of fire and industry that had witnessed the death of hope itself. "Superman," Darkseid's voice rumbled like collapsing stars. "I have come for the one called Saitama. Produce him, or I will reduce your city to atoms searching for him myself." Superman floated before him, heat vision already glowing. "You're not taking anyone. Darkseid, leave Earth, now." "You misunderstand. I do not request. I do not negotiate." Darkseid's eyes blazed red. "I claim." The Omega beams lanced out, faster than thought, tracking Superman with mathematical precision. The Man of Steel dodged, but the beams curved, following him through the air, relentless and inevitable. They struck his back, and Superman screamed as the essence of entropy itself tore through his invulnerable biology. He crashed into a building. Darkseid didn't even watch him fall. The Justice League arrived within minutes. Wonder Woman first, divine fury radiating from her, followed by Green Lantern, Flash, and Cyborg boom tubing directly from the Watchtower. They surrounded Darkseid in a tactical formation refined through years of fighting cosmic threats. Diana, Darkseid acknowledged. Still playing soldier for these mortals. Your mother would be disappointed. My mother taught me to fight tyrants, Diana snarled, charging with her god-killer sword. The blade, forged to kill Zeus himself, met Darkseid's bare hand and stopped. He caught it like catching a child's toy. Impressive, but gods die on Apocalypse daily. Your blade is meaningless here. He crushed the sword, metal screaming as it shattered. Then he backhanded Wonder Woman across 3 city blocks. Green Lantern's constructs, battleships, mechs, weapons that had fought off alien armadas, wrapped around Darkseid like emerald chains. Hal Jordan poured every ounce of will into holding the Dark God. Flash now! Barry Allen vibrated through the Speed Force, building momentum, preparing to phase through Darkseid at relativistic speeds and disrupt his molecular structure from within. He touched the Dark God's chest and stopped. Simply stopped. Darkseid had grabbed the fastest man alive by the throat, plucking him from the Speed Force like picking fruit. Your speed is impressive by mortal standards, Darkseid said conversationally as the Omega effect began burning into Flash's costume. But I have studied the Speed Force. I know its frequencies. You are not as untouchable as you believe. Let him go, Hal screamed, constructs straining. Darkseid's eyes glowed brighter. The Omega beams spread from Flash to the Green Lantern constructs, entropy converting will to dust. Hal's ring flickered, constructs collapsing, and he fell from the sky. Cyborg attacked from behind, boom tubes opening and closing in rapid succession, trying to disorient, to teleport Darkseid into the sun, into the Phantom Zone, anywhere but Earth. The technology interfaced with Mother Box architecture. Cyborg's trump card, his connection to new god technology that should give him an edge. Darkseid turned and for the first time showed something like interest. Ah, you carry Apocalypse within you, machine child. Let me show you what that truly means. He reached out, not touching Cyborg, and the hero's body seized. His mother box screamed digitally as Darkseid's will overrode its programming, millennia of new god mastery asserting dominance over stolen technology. No, 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 no. Cyborg collapsed, systems shutting down, the human part of him locked inside a technological prison. 4 of the Justice League's heaviest hitters, defeated in under 3 minutes. Superman rose from the rubble, battered but healing, heat vision at full power. He hit Darkseid with everything, heat capable of igniting stars, pressure that had moved planets, speed that had broken sound barriers before breakfast. He poured decades of solar radiation into the assault, holding nothing back. Darkseid stood in the inferno, unmoving. When Superman's heat vision finally flickered out, the Dark God stepped forward, not even singed. "Is this the best Earth offers?" Darkseid asked. "Pathetic." Then a voice, flat and bored. "Hey, I heard you wanted to fight me." Saitama stood atop a ruined building, hands in his pockets, cape fluttering in the wind of burning Metropolis. He'd arrived without fanfare, without announcement, just appeared. Darkseid turned, and for the first time since arriving, smiled. "One Punch Man, the hero without limits. I've waited for this conversation." "Conversation? I thought you wanted to fight." "I want many things. Combat is merely the introduction." Darkseid walked forward, each step resonating with power. "You seek challenge? purpose, belonging. I offer all three. Join me, serve Apocalypse, and I will show you battles that make your entire previous existence seem like preparatory exercise. Pass, Saitama said. Wonder Woman already told me about you. You're the bad guy who tries to end free will. Not interested. Free will? Darkseid laughed, the sound like dying suns. The greatest lie the universe tells itself. Choice is illusion. All beings orbit their nature like planets orbit stars. Predictable, inevitable, bound by forces beyond their control. The anti-life equation is merely acknowledgement of this truth. Still not interested? Then allow me to demonstrate why you should be. Darkseid's eyes blazed, and Omega beams lanced toward Saitama with the speed of thought. Saitama tilted his head. The beams passed by him, curved back, tried again. He leaned the other way. They pursued him, reality-warping entropy that had erased beings from existence, and he dodged them like annoying insects. These are kinda slow, Saitama commented. Darkseid's smile widened. Yes, you're faster than I expected. Good. He moved, not teleported, just moved, closing the distance between them in a motion that defied physics. His fist, backed by the strength that had cracked planets, crashed into Saitama's face with a sound like reality breaking. Saitama's head snapped back. He stumbled, half a step. Then he straightened, rubbing his cheek, and his eyes widened slightly. You actually made me move. Like, you hit me hard enough that I felt it. Yes. Darkseid's voice was satisfaction incarnate. Did you think I would summon you without being certain I could provide what you crave? I am Darkseid. I am the end of all things, and you, One Punch Man, are about to learn that your power, while impressive, has finally met its match. For the first time since arriving in the DC universe, Saitama smiled. Really smiled. Not the polite upturn of lips when someone made a joke, but genuine, excited anticipation. This is gonna be fun. He punched. A normal punch by his standards. Casual, exploratory, the kind he'd use on street-level threats. It connected with Darkseid's chest, and the shockwave leveled 3 city blocks. Shattered windows for miles, and knocked Superman, still recovering, back into rubble. Darkseid slid backward, 30 feet, boots carving trenches in the pavement. He looked down at his chest where Saitama's fist had landed, then back up at the bald hero. Acceptable, Darkseid said. Again. They clashed, and Metropolis suffered. Each exchange of blows created pressure waves that flattened buildings. Saitama's punches, which had destroyed planets in his universe, met Darkseid's godlike durability and found resistance. Not immunity, but actual, genuine resistance. The Dark God's techniques were refined over eons, combat styles that predated Earth's sun, strength channeled with divine precision. Against Superman, he'd been holding back. Against Saitama, he unleashed everything. An uppercut sent Saitama through 4 buildings. He emerged from the rubble, dusting off his suit, still smiling. You're actually strong, like really strong. This is amazing. Your enjoyment is premature, Darkseid rumbled. I have been testing you. Now I fight seriously. The Omega effect exploded outward, not as beams, but as a field of entropy itself. Buildings aged to dust. The street beneath them crumbled to component atoms, and in the center, Saitama felt something he hadn't felt in years. Actual pressure. Not pain, not damage, but the sensation of his body having to work to resist something. He laughed, pure, joyful laughter. This is it. This is what I've been looking for. His consecutive normal punches, a rapid-fire barrage that created a solid wall of pressure, hammered into Darkseid. The Dark God blocked, parried, tanked hits that would have vaporized planets, and gave ground inch by grudging inch. Yes, Darkseid roared. Show me your limit. Prove that you possess the power I require. Require. Saitama landed another hit, this one harder. You keep talking like I'm gonna join you. You will. Darkseid caught Saitama's fist, holding it, the two titans frozen in a test of pure strength. Because I'm giving you what no one else can, a fight that matters. A battle where you must actually try. And when this ends, when you have tasted real combat for the first time in years, you will hunger for more. And only I can provide it. They pushed against each other, crater deepening beneath their feet. Saitama realized with shock that Darkseid wasn't being pushed back. For the first time since breaking his limiter, someone was matching his strength evenly. I've spent millennia preparing for this moment, Darkseid said, still smiling that terrible smile. Did you think your arrival went unnoticed? I knew you were coming before you landed. I studied your every battle, analyzed your power's nature, and concluded that you represent the final piece of my plan. What plan? The anti-life equation proves free will is meaningless, but proof is insufficient. It must be enforced. And who better to enforce the end of choice than a being who claims to have transcended all limitation? Darkseid's eyes blazed. Join me, Saitama. Become the Fist of Apocalypse. Together, we will bring order to a chaotic multiverse. No more boredom, no more meaningless victories, just eternal purpose. By ending everyone's free will, that's insane. Is it? Darkseid released Saitama and stepped back, gesturing at the devastated city around them. Look at what their freedom creates: war, poverty, suffering, crime. The Joker you fought. He exists because beings have the freedom to choose evil. But under the anti-life equation, such choices become impossible. Perfect peace. Perfect order, and you would be the guardian of that peace. Saitama looked at the destruction they'd caused, buildings reduced to rubble, fires burning, people fleeing in terror, the Justice League struggling to evacuate civilians while two gods fought among them. No, he said quietly, because that's not peace, that's just nothing. People need to choose, even if they choose wrong sometimes. Disappointing. Darkseid's expression hardened. Then I will simply take you, break you, remake you into what Apocalypse requires. You have given me the fight I needed to measure your strength. Now I know exactly how much force is required to shatter your will. The Omega effect intensified, no longer beams, but a field of pure entropy. Saitama felt his suit beginning to decay, his cape crumbling to atoms. Not his body, that remained untouched, but everything around him succumbed to the death of heat, energy, motion, hope itself. This is the Omega, Darkseid intoned. The end of all things, not death, something beyond death, the cessation of meaning itself. You cannot punch entropy, Saitama. You cannot defeat the concept of ending. And for the first time since arriving in the DC universe, Saitama felt genuine concern. Not fear. He still didn't know how to fear, but recognition that he'd finally found something his raw strength alone might not overcome. Darkseid was right. You couldn't punch an idea, but as the Omega effect pressed in, as reality itself tried to convince Saitama to simply cease, he remembered Diana's words. Heroism isn't about power. It's about choosing to protect people even when it's boring, tedious, or thankless. He thought of the children he'd saved from the Joker, of Superman's trust, of Diana's friendship, of every person in this universe who'd shown him kindness despite fearing his strength. And he realized something. Maybe he couldn't punch entropy itself, but he could punch the god creating it. Saitama's fist rose, and this time he meant it. Not a casual punch, not a testing strike, a serious punch backed by the full weight of someone who'd broken every limitation and stood beyond mortal comprehension. Serious punch, he said simply. The impact didn't create a shockwave. It created a silence, a perfect sphere of absolute stillness where physics simply gave up. Then reality caught up, and Metropolis felt the backlash as compressed air exploded outward in a visible sphere of destruction. Darkseid flew backward, through buildings, through the river, through the ground itself, carving a canyon through Metropolis, before finally stopping 3 miles away, embedded in bedrock. Saitama landed, breathing slightly harder. Not winded, just engaged in a way he hadn't been in years. Darkseid rose from the crater, and incredibly he was smiling, bleeding from the mouth, actual god blood on his lips, but smiling. "Perfect," the Lord of Apocalypse said. "You are everything I hoped. This battle will continue, Saitama, but not now. Now I retreat and prepare properly. When next we meet, I will show you what happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, and neither one yields." A boom tube opened behind him. "Consider my offer. Join me willingly, or I will manufacture a situation where you have no choice. There are beings you love now in this universe. Friends, allies. What happens to them depends entirely on your decision. Are you threatening them?" Saitama's voice went flat, dangerous. "I am stating facts. The Justice League cannot protect them from me, and you cannot be everywhere at once. Choose, Saitama. Serve willingly and keep them safe, or refuse and watch them suffer." Darkseid stepped through the boom tube and vanished. Saitama stood in the devastated street, fists clenched, as the Justice League gathered around him. Superman, battered but standing. Diana supporting Flash. Hal and Cyborg recovering, all of them staring at the hero who'd just done what they couldn't, actually hurt Darkseid. "Did you just—" Superman started. "Yeah," Saitama said quietly. "I hit him hard enough to make him bleed." "That's never happened before," Diana breathed. "In all our battles with Darkseid, we've never drawn blood." "He's coming back," Saitama said. "And next time, he's threatening you guys to make me join him." Batman's voice crackled over comms. "Then we prepare. But Saitama, you need to understand. You just became Darkseid's primary target. He doesn't recruit beings. He breaks them and makes them serve. Whatever he's planning, it will be designed specifically to shatter your will and remake you into Apocalypse weapon." "Let him try," Saitama said, but his voice carried uncertainty now. Because for the first time since breaking his limiter, he'd found a fight that didn't end in one punch. And Darkseid had known, had planned for it, prepared for it, orchestrated this entire encounter to prove that he could give Saitama exactly what he craved. The Lord of Apocalypse understood the bold hero's greatest weakness, his desperate, aching need for a challenge that mattered. And that made him more dangerous than any Omega beam ever could. The Watchtower hummed with tension. Every member of the Justice League stood around the central table, holographic displays showing Apocalypse preparing for war. Fire pits burning hotter, parademan armies mobilizing, boom tube signatures spiking across the galaxy. Darkseid had returned to his throne world and immediately begun preparations for an invasion that would make previous attempts look like reconnaissance missions. And at the center of it all, sitting uncomfortably in a chair designed for Superman, was Saitama. "We have 72 hours, Batman said, pulling up tactical displays. "Darkseid's forces will reach Earth by then. This won't be a surgical strike or a targeted assault. He's bringing everything, his elite guard, his parademon legions, his most powerful generals. This is total war. And he's doing it to capture one person," Wonder Woman added, looking at Saitama. "You." "Then I'll go to him," Saitama said immediately. "Fight him on Apocalypse, keep Earth out of it." "That's exactly what he wants," Batman countered. "On Apocalypse, he controls everything. The terrain, the environment, the engagement parameters. You'd be walking into a cage designed specifically for you. So what do we do? Let him invade Earth?" Superman stepped forward, his presence commanding despite his injuries from the earlier battle. "We fight, all of us, together. Darkseid may have found someone who can match him physically, but he's never faced Earth when we're truly united. You'll lose, Saitama said quietly. I saw what he did to you, all of you, and he was holding back until I showed up. We've lost before, Hal Jordan said, green ring glowing. We always get back up. This time you might not. Saitama stood, walking to the viewport, staring at Earth below. He wants me to join him. Maybe I should consider it. The room erupted. Diana's hand went to her lasso. Batman's fingers moved toward contingency protocols. Superman's eyes began to glow red. No, Superman said firmly. We don't negotiate with tyrants. Even to save Earth? Saitama turned to face them. He's right about one thing. I can't protect everyone at once. If he scatters his forces, attacks multiple cities simultaneously, goes after civilians specifically, how many people die while I'm fighting him? That's the question every hero with power faces, Batman said, voice cold with controlled anger. And the answer is always the same. You do what you can, save who you can, and live with the rest. You don't surrender your principles to monsters promising easy solutions. Even when people die because of those principles? Especially then. Diana moved beside him, her warrior's heart understanding his struggle. Saitama, I know this universe is different from yours. Darker, more morally complex, full of beings like Darkseid who make simple heroism seem naive. But that's exactly why we need heroes who hold the line. The moment you join Apocalypse to protect Earth, you become the thing you're protecting it from. I'm tired of philosophy, Saitama said, voice strained. I'm tired of moral debates and impossible choices. In my world, I just punched bad guys and went home. Here, every punch creates complications. Every choice has consequences, and now there's finally someone strong enough to challenge me, but he's using that to manipulate me into becoming a weapon of genocide. Then prove him wrong, Superman said quietly. Not by joining him, not by refusing to fight him, but by showing him that strength without tyranny is possible. You have power that makes gods jealous. Use it to protect, not control. Stand with us, not above us. Saitama looked at each of them. Superman's hope, Diana's conviction, Batman's calculating readiness, the other League members' determination. They knew they were outmatched. They knew Darkseid could kill them, and they were choosing to fight anyway. Okay, Saitama said finally. But when he comes, I'm the primary target. Keep everyone else safe. I'll handle Darkseid. We fight together, Superman insisted. That's what the Justice League means. No, Saitama's voice was firm. You've seen what happens when we fight near civilians. Buildings collapse, people die. If I'm gonna go all out against him, it needs to be somewhere isolated. Somewhere my punches won't level cities. Batman's fingers flew across his console. The Sahara Desert, uninhabited region, 1,000 miles from nearest settlement. We evacuate that zone, establish it as the battlefield, draw Darkseid there. He won't come alone, Diana warned. His forces will attack elsewhere while you fight. Then the Justice League handles his forces. Saitama said, I'll keep him occupied. For how long? Flash asked. If he's really as strong as you say, if he can actually challenge you, how long can you fight until someone wins? Saitama interrupted. That's how fights work. The next 72 hours were preparation. The League mobilized every hero on Earth. Titans, outsiders, reserves, even some reformed villains who recognized existential threats when they saw them. Evacuation protocols engaged across 6 continents. Wayne Tech, LexCorp, and the Watchtower's resources combined to create defensive perimeters. And Saitama trained, or tried to. How do you train when you've already broken your limits? He stood in the Watchtower's gym, throwing punch after punch at air, trying to feel something, anything that suggested improvement. Wonder Woman found him there, hours before the invasion. You're afraid, she observed. I'm not afraid of him. No, you're afraid of enjoying it too much. Diana sat beside him on the bench, afraid that finally having a worthy opponent will make you forget why you're fighting, that the thrill of challenge will override your moral center. Saitama stopped punching. Is that what happened to Superman in the Injustice timeline? Partially. The Joker tricked him into killing Lois and destroying Metropolis. His grief and rage combined with his power, and he decided the world needed order more than freedom, but the deeper truth. Diana's eyes were ancient with wisdom. He was tired of being strong enough to save everyone but not allowed to. Tired of watching villains escape and kill again. When tragedy struck, it gave him permission to stop holding back. And once he started, he couldn't stop. How do I make sure that doesn't happen to me? Remember why you're fighting, not for the challenge, not for the thrill, but for the people who need protecting. Diana stood, offering her hand. Come, I want to show you something. They flew to Metropolis, Diana carrying Saitama, who still couldn't fly properly. She brought him to a children's hospital, the same one where he'd saved kids from the Joker. Inside, children recovering from that trauma had created drawings, each one showing a bald man in yellow punching a clown. They asked about you every day, a nurse explained. Wanted to know if the hero who saved them was okay, if he'd come back to visit. Saitama stared at the drawings, these crayon representations of his heroism, and felt something crack in his chest, not physically, but emotionally. These kids didn't care about his power level. They cared that he'd saved them. This is what you're fighting for, Diana said. Not to prove you're stronger than Darkseid, not to finally feel challenged, but because these children, and millions like them, deserve a world where tyrants don't decide their fate. Even if I have to hold back, even if it means not fighting at my full power. Especially then. True strength is knowing when not to use your power. The boom tubes opened early. Darkseid was not known for honoring predictions. His forces descended on Earth from 17 different locations simultaneously. New York, London, Tokyo, Metropolis, Gotham, Paris, cities across the globe suddenly filled with parademons and fire. The Justice League split, each member racing to their assigned defense point. Superman to Metropolis, Batman to Gotham, Diana to London, Flash to Central City. The younger heroes, titans, outsiders, covered smaller cities. It was coordination born of years of crisis management. And in the Sahara Desert, Saitama waited. Darkseid arrived alone, stepping through a boom tube onto sand that immediately fused to glass from the heat of his presence. You chose to face me, the Dark God said, alone, admirable if futile. I'm giving you one chance, Saitama said. Leave Earth, stop invading, find your anti-life equation somewhere else. Or what? You will stop me. Darkseid smiled. We both know how our last battle ended. I'm the only being in this universe who can give you what you crave. Why resist the inevitable? Because what I crave isn't what I need. Saitama's fist clenched. I wanted a challenge, yeah, but not like this. Not by joining a genocidal maniac and helping him enslave the multiverse. Such naive morality. But it will serve after I break you and rebuild you correctly. They clashed, and then the Sahara shook. Saitama's consecutive normal punches created a sandstorm visible from space. Darkseid's Omega beams carved canyons in the desert. Each exchange of blows generated pressure waves that flattened dunes for miles. This was different from their first fight. Then, Saitama had been exploring, testing, excited to find someone strong. Now he was serious, fighting not for challenge, but for purpose. His punches carried weight beyond physics, the determination of someone protecting what mattered. Impressive, Darkseid acknowledged, blocking a combination that would have shattered continents. You fight with conviction now, but conviction is not enough against entropy itself. The Omega effect expanded, that field of death and ending. But this time, Saitama didn't just resist it. He pushed back. His absolute nature, his complete transcendence of limitation, created a bubble of existence within the void. He walked through entropy like walking through rain, and his fist found Darkseid's jaw. Blood. The Dark God bled again. Impossible, Darkseid staggered. The Omega effect is the end of all things. You cannot simply... I can, Saitama said, because I broke my limiter. No cap on my strength, no cap on my durability, no cap on my resistance to anything. Your entropy is impressive, but I exist beyond the concept of limits. Rage flickered across Darkseid's face. True rage, not the calculated anger he usually displayed. Then I will break what makes you human instead of what makes you powerful. He raised his hand, and across the globe, the boom tubes shifted. Parademons stopped attacking civilians and converged on one target, Diana, fighting in London. Saitama felt it through their communication network. Wonder Woman's distress call, the sound of her being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Simple equation, Darkseid said coldly. Continue fighting me and she dies. Thousands of parademons, all focused on the Amazon. She is strong, but not infinite. She will fall. Unless you abandon our battle to save her, proving you cannot defend all fronts simultaneously, or... His smile returned. You join me, and I call them off. Become Apocalypse champion, and I spare everyone you care about. Saitama heard Diana screaming over comms, heard Superman trying to reach her but blocked by parademon swarms in Metropolis, heard the desperation in Batman's voice coordinating evacuations. This was Darkseid's real plan, not to beat Saitama physically, but to present an impossible choice: abandon the fight and fail to stop Darkseid, or continue fighting and watch friends die. Saitama hesitated, fist raised but frozen. Choose, Darkseid commanded. Your friend's life or your principles. Which matters more? And in that moment, Saitama understood something about the DC universe that his own world had never taught him. Power alone was never enough. Strength could punch gods, but it couldn't be everywhere at once. It couldn't protect everyone. It couldn't solve the fundamental problem that evil was strategic and heroism was reactive. Unless... You're right, Saitama said quietly. I can't save everyone. Darkseid's smile widened. But that's never been the job of one hero. Saitama looked up, eyes meeting Darkseid's. That's why there's a league. Overcomes, Diana, I'm coming. Wonder Woman's voice, strained but firm. No, hold the line. I can... The sound of combat, her war cry. Handle this. Batman. Reinforcements reaching London in 30 seconds. Titans mobilizing. She's not alone. Superman. Neither are you, Saitama. We fight together. That's what you taught us by choosing to stand with us instead of above us. And Saitama realized. They were right. He'd spent years alone in his power, convinced that strength meant solving everything yourself. But the Justice League understood something he'd forgotten. Heroes worked together, shared burdens, protected each other's weaknesses. He didn't have to beat Darkseid and save Diana and stop the invasion alone. He just had to beat Darkseid. The rest would handle itself. Wrong choice, Darkseid snarled. Then she dies. Saitama's fist, moving faster than he'd ever moved before, driven not by challenge-seeking but by purpose, by trust in his allies, by the understanding that he was part of something larger than himself, connected with Darkseid's chest. Serious series, serious punch. The impact created a silence that stretched across dimensions. Then reality caught up, and the shockwave was visible from orbit, a perfect sphere of displaced matter expanding outward, sand fusing to glass, air compressing to visible waves. Darkseid flew backward, not 3 miles this time, but through the atmosphere, through the edge of space, trajectory carrying him away from Earth at escape velocity. The Lord of Apocalypse, the God of Tyranny, the being who'd nearly conquered Earth dozens of times, tumbled through the void. Beaten not by killing him. Saitama still wouldn't cross that line, but by hitting him hard enough to remove him from the battlefield entirely. Across Earth, the boom tubes collapsed. Without Darkseid's presence to maintain them, the parademons lost coordination, became manageable. The invasion faltered, then failed. Saitama stood in the glass crater he'd created, breathing hard, not from exhaustion, but from emotional intensity. He'd done it. Beaten a god without becoming one. Protected Earth without tyranny. Fought with everything he had while still holding to his principles. Saitama, Superman's voice over comms. Darkseid's retreating. You did it. We did it, Saitama corrected. Is Diana okay? Battered but standing, the Titans reached her in time. A pause. You trusted us to handle our part while you handled yours. That's what teamwork means. Yeah, Saitama said, looking at his fist, still glowing slightly from the power he'd unleashed. Yeah, I guess it is. The Justice League gathered in the aftermath, standing among rubble and broken parademons, bruised and exhausted, but alive. They looked at Saitama, this strange hero from another universe who'd just saved them all, and saw not a weapon or a threat, but something simpler, a teammate. Welcome to the Justice League, Diana said, offering her hand despite her injuries. Officially. Saitama took it, and for the first time since arriving in the DC universe, he felt something besides boredom or loneliness or desperate hunger for challenge. He felt like he belonged. The Watchtower's observation deck offered a view of Earth in all its fragile beauty. A blue marble suspended in void, teeming with billions who just survived an extinction-level threat without even knowing how close they'd come. Saitama stood at the window, hands in his pockets, watching clouds swirl over continents. Batman approached from behind, silent as always. You're still here? Yeah, Superman said there'd be a debriefing. The debriefing ended an hour ago. Everyone else left. Batman stood beside him, cowl pulled back, revealing Bruce Wayne's exhausted face. You're avoiding going back to Earth. Not avoiding, just thinking. About Darkseid's offer. Saitama's shoulders tensed. How did you? Because I know what temptation looks like. He offered you exactly what you wanted. A challenge, purpose, belonging. The fact that you refused doesn't erase that you were tempted. Batman's voice carried no judgment, just observation. The question is, are you still tempted? Saitama was quiet for a long moment. He's out there somewhere, probably planning his next move. And when he comes back, it'll be with something worse, something designed specifically to break me. He knows my weakness now. Your loneliness. Yeah, the admission hurt more than any physical blow. I've been the strongest for so long that I forgot what it's like to struggle, to feel like a fight matters. And when he gave me that, even for a few minutes, Saitama's fist clenched. I loved it. I loved fighting someone who could actually hurt me, who made me try, and that terrifies me. Why? Because what if next time he offers me a challenge I can't refuse? What if he creates a situation where the only way to protect people is to join him? What if I'm one disaster away from becoming the thing you're all afraid I'll become? Batman considered this, then pulled up a holographic file. Do you know what a contingency plan is? A backup plan. I have contingency plans to neutralize every member of the Justice League if they go rogue. Superman exposed to gold kryptonite. Diana bound with her own lasso. Flash trapped in the Speed Force. I've prepared for the day when any of us falls to corruption, mind control, or simply breaks under pressure. He looked at Saitama. I've been working on yours since the day you arrived. And did you find a way to stop me? No. Batman closed the file. Every scenario ends the same way. If you decide to become a threat, we lose. There's no kryptonite for you, no magical weakness, no pressure point I can exploit. You are, by every measure, unstoppable. That's comforting. But here's what I realized while running those simulations. Batman turned to face him fully. The only contingency that matters for you isn't physical, it's moral. You're not held in check by fear of consequences or lack of power. You're held in check by your choice to be a hero. That's your weakness and your strength. You still believe heroism matters. What if I stop believing it? Then we remind you. That's what the Justice League is really for. Not just fighting threats, but keeping each other grounded when the power threatens to corrupt us. Superman has us, Diana has us, and now you have us too. Batman's expression softened slightly. You're not alone anymore, Saitama. That's the real answer to Darkseid's temptation. Diana entered the observation deck, out of armor and wearing casual clothes that somehow still managed to look regal. Am I interrupting? No, Saitama said. Batman was just telling me he can't kill me if I go evil. How reassuring. Diana joined them at the window. For what it's worth, I don't think you will. I've seen warriors fall to corruption. It happens slowly through small compromises and justified exceptions. You've faced multiple temptations now. Luthor's offer, Waller's threats, Darkseid's challenge, and refused each time. That suggests your moral center is stronger than your hunger for purpose. Or I'm just too stubborn to accept help, Saitama muttered. Stubbornness is a virtue in moderation. Diana smiled. Saitama, do you know why I came to man's world? Why I left Themyscira, where I was princess and champion, to live among mortals I could crush with my bare hands? To be a hero. To understand humanity. The Amazons are warriors, powerful and skilled, but isolated from the beings we claim to protect. I realized that protecting people from a distance, using them as justification for our existence, but never truly knowing them, that wasn't heroism. It was just function, like being a weapon that occasionally defended its owners. She looked at Earth below. I came here to be part of the world, not just its guardian. To share in human struggle, joy, suffering, hope. To be vulnerable in a way that power usually prevents. And did it work? Saitama asked quietly. I'm still learning, but yes, mostly. I have friends now, not just allies. I've known love and loss. I've failed people and learned from it. I've become more than my power because I chose to be more than my power. Diana's hand touched his shoulder. That's the path I see you walking. Not away from your strength, but towards something that makes that strength meaningful. Superman floated through the bulkhead. He never used doors when he could phase through walls, carrying a cardboard box. Sorry I'm late. Had to stop by Smallville. What's in the box? Batman asked suspiciously. Ma made pie. Superman opened it, revealing a perfectly golden apple pie that made even Batman's tactical mind pause. She heard about the invasion and insisted I bring something for the new hero who saved everyone. Her words. He handed it to Saitama, who stared at the pie like it was alien technology. Your mom baked me a pie. That's what she does. Feeds people. It's her superpower. Superman smiled that genuine, warm smile that reminded everyone why he was called the Man of Steel. Not for his invulnerability, but for his unshakable core of decency. Saitama, you saved Earth today. You beat Darkseid in direct combat, something the rest of us have never managed. But more importantly, you proved you could have that power and still choose heroism over tyranny. That matters more than any amount of strength. Saitama took the pie, this simple gesture of gratitude from a stranger in Kansas, and felt something in his chest tighten. In his world, he'd been famous but alone, recognized but never really seen. Here, a woman he'd never met had baked him pie because he'd done the right thing. I don't know what to say. Say you'll stick around, Flash zipped in, having apparently been eavesdropping. Because we could really use someone who can go toe-to-toe with cosmic threats. Plus, you're kind of fun to have around when you're not being all depressed about your power. Fun? Saitama raised an eyebrow. Yeah, you're like supremely powerful, but also supremely clueless about it. It's endearing. Flash grabbed a handful of pie directly from the box. Also, this pie is amazing. Superman's mom is the real MVP. Barry, that's his pie. I'm a speedster. I need calories. That's not how metabolism works. Saitama watched them bicker, these legendary heroes acting like normal people, and something inside him, that crushing isolation he'd carried for years, began to ease. Not disappear, but become bearable. Hey, he said, interrupting their argument. Can I ask you all something? They turned, waiting. Why did you trust me? I'm from another universe. I have power none of you can match, and Darkseid specifically targeted me. I'm a liability, so why let me join the League? Batman and Superman exchanged glances. Diana smiled knowingly. Flash shrugged, mouth still full of pie. Because you chose us over him, Batman said finally. When Darkseid offered you everything you wanted, you chose our principles instead. That's the only qualification that matters for the Justice League. Not power, not skill, but moral clarity when it counts. Also, Superman added, because you sat with children in a hospital and awkwardly tried to comfort them after saving their lives. Anyone who does that is someone I want on my team. And because you're lonely and bored and powerful and lost, Diana said gently, and we've all been there. This universe is dark, Saitama. It breaks heroes and corrupts ideals and makes simple morality seem naive, but it also has people worth protecting, causes worth fighting for, and allies worth trusting. Let us help you find your place here. Saitama looked at the pie, at these heroes who'd accepted him despite everything, at Earth turning peacefully below. He thought about his old world. Clean, simple, boring. Every fight the same, every day meaningless. This universe was complicated, yes. Dark and morally complex and full of beings like Darkseid who'd exploit any weakness. But it was also full of people like Superman's mother, baking pie for heroes, of children drawing crayon pictures, of Diana offering friendship, of Batman trusting him despite having no contingency for failure. Okay, Saitama said quietly. I'll stay, not just to fight, but to be part of this, to learn from you guys, to figure out what heroism means when the battles are never simple. Good, Batman said, something that might have been approval flickering across his face. Because we're having a League meeting in 20 minutes and you're officially on the roster. Welcome to the Justice League, Saitama. Try not to destroy the Watchtower during training. They left him alone with his pie and his thoughts. Through the observation window, he watched Earth continue its rotation, oblivious to the cosmic forces that had almost destroyed it. Somewhere down there, cities were rebuilding, people were returning to their lives, heroes were resting between crises, and somewhere across the cosmos, Darkseid sat on his throne, nursing his wounds and planning his next move. The Lord of Apocalypse had failed to recruit Saitama, but he'd learned valuable information. The hero's weakness wasn't physical, but emotional. Isolation, boredom, hunger for meaningful challenge. These were the cracks that could be exploited. Next time, he wouldn't offer just strength. He'd offer something more insidious. Proof that heroism without ruthlessness was failure. He'd show Saitama a scenario where holding to principles cost innocent lives, where the only way to save everyone was to abandon mercy. And when that moment came, when Saitama's moral clarity finally cracked under the weight of impossible choices, Darkseid would be there to welcome him to enlightenment. But that was tomorrow's battle. Today, for the first time since breaking his limiter, Saitama felt something besides boredom. He felt hope. Not the naive hope that his world would provide challenges. The dream was dead. But the more complex, resilient hope that this darker universe might provide something better. Purpose. Community. The chance to prove that power and principle could coexist, that strength didn't require tyranny, that a hero could remain a hero even when every fight tested that choice. His communicator beeped. Batman's gravel voice. "Meeting in 5. Don't be late." "I won't," Saitama said, smiling slightly. He took one last look at Earth, this planet of gods and monsters and people who somehow survived between them, then headed toward the conference room. Behind him, the sun rose over the Pacific, painting the clouds gold and crimson, a new day beginning, full of possibilities both bright and terrible. The Justice League had gained their most powerful member. But more importantly, Saitama had found something his home universe had never given him, a reason to fight that mattered more than the fight itself. Darkseid would return, villains would threaten Earth, moral dilemmas would test his principles. The DC universe would continue being complicated, dark, and morally ambiguous. But for the first time since arriving, Saitama understood that complexity wasn't a weakness. It was what made heroism meaningful. Every easy fight in his old world had meant nothing because there were no stakes, no growth, no purpose beyond the action itself. Here, every choice mattered. Every battle tested not just his strength, but his character. And that, the constant struggle to do right in a universe designed to make wrong so tempting, was the real challenge he'd been seeking all along. Not a god who could match his punches, but a world that could test his soul. 6 months later, Saitama stood in the Watchtower's training room, sparring with Wonder Woman while Superman observed and Batman reviewed tactical footage. The bold hero had learned to pull his punches even more carefully, to move at speeds his teammates could track, to communicate strategy instead of just punching through problems. He'd also learned to grocery shop in Metropolis without causing panic, to accept dinner invitations from the Kent family, to tolerate Flash's constant chatter and Batman's paranoid contingency planning. He'd joined game nights, helped with rescue operations, and slowly, carefully, built a life that was more than just waiting for the next fight. The boredom hadn't disappeared entirely. It never would. But it had become manageable, contextualized by purpose and community. Again, Diana called, and they clashed in a carefully controlled exchange that would have looked devastating to civilians but was merely practice between titans. Across the galaxy, Darkseid watched through sensors and smiled. The bald hero had found contentment, yes, but contentment made one complacent. And when the next crisis came, and it would come because it always did in the DC universe, Saitama would face a choice that his newfound principles couldn't answer. That's when apocalypse would strike. Not with armies, but with philosophy. Not with force, but with questions that had no good answers. The Lord of Apocalypse was patient. He'd been conquering worlds before Earth's sun ignited. He could wait for the perfect moment to show the One-Punch Man that power without ruthlessness was just weakness with good intentions. But that story was for another day. Today, in the Watchtower, a hero from another universe laughed at something Flash said, accepted Superman's offer to visit Kansas for Thanksgiving, and finally, for the first time in years, felt like he was exactly where he needed to be. Saitama had found his challenge, not in defeating gods, but in remaining human despite godlike power, in choosing principles over pragmatism, community over isolation, hope over despair. The DC universe had tested him and found him worthy. But the test was never ending, because that's what heroism meant in a universe where the line between savior and tyrant was one bad decision away. He would stumble. He would doubt. He would face moments when his power felt like burden instead of gift, but he wouldn't face them alone. And that made all the difference. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.